पसलमै होला किन चाहियो त अब चलाउनु न
Oh, okay. You're right there, Seamus. Hello and welcome back to a new season of See You Next Thursday. This week we will mostly be catching up on the transfer business of the last couple of weeks while we had our end of season break. For those who hadn't realised, that's where we've been. Well, sort of. And we'll also be obviously avoiding any mention of cricket, right, Seamus?
hang on let's not hide the truth. We've not been away because of end of season things or
No,
anything. It's just because
no.
someone has been so busy reading up on the American hero that he
Yeah,
couldn't take out 5 minutes from his life to do the podcast.
yeah. That took some doing that article. God, just typing all the
Yeah.
work.
So if anyone hasn't noticed, it's the greatest what best-selling author himself, Mr. Christian Berg.
Best selling. I wish it was selling. Oh, I tell you, I couldn't sell it. We couldn't give it away. Let's be honest.
And it's like so like well timed. Like I wouldn't think you would go through so much effort to go get this done, but it's like just as at the beginning of the Tour de France.
But
It's
that
like
was the plan. Yeah, that was the plan. I was trying to get it done for the Tour de France. That was what it was. That's why I was really rushing through it, trying to get it up, trying to get it done.
so I just want to ask you one thing. Like, do you know who the defending champion is this season? Like
Not got
this
a
year?
clue.
So it just proves that you don't have to be a chef to know how to cook. So, sorry, how to know if the steak is well done or however you guys understand it.
No, we just
You don't
eat it.
have, yeah,
That's how you eat. It's eating. It's the proof of the pudding, isn't it?
yeah. See, this the world-renowned best-selling author has zero ball knowledge, or should it be will knowledge?
I'm not sure, mate. I'm not sure. So how are you anyway, Seamus? As you've been, you've had a couple of weeks off to relax.
I've been all right. I've been all right. Just
Partying,
the usual.
you know.
No. It's like I've said before. It's above 25 degrees Celsius here, and it's too hot for me to handle.
25. Jesus, it never gets down that low here.
No, it gets around 30. It gets around 30, and I start getting headaches. And I'm not
Wow,
joking. That's actually the thing.
wow.
I have to stay well hydrated, otherwise I start getting mild headaches. And I can tolerate most of the things, but not a headache.
Okay. So, you found something to moan about. You truly are an old man, ain't you now? Grumpy old man, mate. Grumpy old man. Anyway, should we get crackers? We got to catch up on all the news that came in while we've been away. Should we start with the managers? Because there's quite a few with them. I mean, Brendan Rodgers gone back to Celtic. What do you think of that? Think he'll
Uh,
be a success again?
if only we knew someone who supported Celtic and
Oh, we should have got seven on,
has
shouldn't
like
we?
has dipped his
Shit.
toe into the podcasting market.
That was stupid of us. We missed the trick there, didn't we? Damn it. I never thought. We'll have to see if we can get him on next week to talk about it. I'll make a
No,
note of that
but
now.
no. But the actual question is, can we get any Celtic fan to actually say nice things about him?
Well, that's what I mean. That's what I was wondering. We
The
should
thing,
see.
like the things you brought into light for me, like the chance they have and all those things.
Oh yeah, that chant about he wish he'd die in his sleep. I mean, wow. That's shocking, that is. That's going a bit too far, isn't it?
A
Uh,
bit.
well, all right, a lot too far. I was trying to be polite, unlike the Celtic fans chant, obviously. Uh, so do you think he'll be a success
It's not
second
like
time around?
he has to be. He has to be. Rangers seem to be in another period of transition. Shall we put it like that?
Hmm. Yeah, they,
And Celtic are doing very well. It's like they've got a good team, although they've lost one good player, but they have the finances, they have the team, they have the structure, everything for him to again try and rebuild his career.
yeah, you would think so. I mean, he should have. They must have the edge. They got the finances in place. They'll be in the Champions League, obviously, so they'll have extra cash coming in. But I don't know how Beale compares as a coach or tactician compared to Rodgers, though. I know Rodgers is not, in my opinion, very good, but as a tactician, I mean, as a coach, he's good. But I don't know if Beale's even better or worse. Only time will tell, I guess. Should we move on?
Yeah, but
Oh,
but like just on this topic, since we're there, why if you're Brendan Rodgers, why do you take this job? Because I think it's a no-win situation for him. If he does
yeah.
a if he wins a treble, whatever I said right now holds true. He took over a better team with better structure, a better even the better vibes around the team in itself. It's not like they're going through a rough patch behind the scenes, and Rangers are running on momentum, good feel, and everything. It's like Rangers are slightly on the downward. Celtic are as high as they can be in euphoria and all those things. If he wins, for me, it doesn't prove anything for him. And if he doesn't win, it just proves me right all along. Like there is no win for him in my eyes.
Yeah, because even if he wins, they won the treble last season, so well,
And he
you
won
can't
the
improve on it.
and he won the trophies last time around already.
Yeah,
It's not like
the only thing he can do to be an improvement on what's come before is he's got to do better in Europe because they've been very poor in Europe under Ange Postecoglou and himself
and
previously.
himself, yeah.
Yeah, and Neil Lennon. It doesn't matter who. They've not performed in Europe, so they need to do that. That's the next step. Yeah, whether they're capable of it, I don't know. He's certainly never shown any capacity to be able to manage in European football, has he? At Liverpool, he was dreadful. So
And he wasn't that good with Leicester either.
no, no, exactly.
David Moyes outperformed his record in Europe.
Yeah,
Fucking David Moyes.
yeah, and David Moyes has been with West Ham, who aren't exactly known for winning trophies and that, and he's been with the recent he's been with Liverpool, who quite often, won quite a few things in their time, and then Leicester City had won the Premier League in just a few years previously, and Celtic, they walking away with everything in Scotland. He should at least have been able to make an impression in Europe with those teams, but he just never did.
Even Steven Gerrard outperformed him.
Yeah,
If we're just talking about Scotland, Rangers did much better
yeah, got to the
in Europe.
final, which he's never done. But yeah, this could be make or break for him as far as his career. You can't see him going anywhere but down if he doesn't succeed.
But I don't think it's gonna make his career. That's my point. I don't think him succeeding at Celtic, whatever it is, unless he goes on and does
That's what I'm saying. If he
brilliantly
does
well
in Europe,
even in Europe, even if he wins Europa League, he's not gonna get an Arsenal, a Liverpool, a Man United,
no, I
or
think
Man City after it.
he'll
Unless he does an Ajax in 2019 and like Celtic perform really, really, really well in Champions League, go really deep. Like he's gonna get a Leicester kind of job again at best.
Yeah, you're right. That's a fair point. He's not gonna. He's certainly not gonna take them further.
And his career isn't gonna go much further with them, anyways. Is my point. Like, if
Yeah,
I
no,
was Rogers, it doesn't make much sense to me.
no. I got to admit that is the thing. I do not understand it. The way, I mean, especially like the way the fans chanted about him, calling him a snake and things like that. You would have thought it's a bit like when Rafa went to Everton. It just is not going to work out because he's not going to get the fans on side no matter what he does. And I think that a large portion of them, I mean, and I think that's going to be the same with Rodgers. I think it's just going to all end in tears,
And
just like
it's a bit of
Rafa
a
at Everton.
strange appointment. Yeah.
Speaking of Rafa, I see he's taken the Celta Vigo job while we were away as well.
Yeah, Rafa Benitez back in football.
It's an odd
At
one.
least Eddie Howe can take a sigh of relief now. At least one guy is not hanging.
What yeah, I was going to say somebody else who I thought might have been a possibility of taking over there, but he's just taken another job as well. But we'll get to that later in a bit. Like, yeah, I think Celta Vigo's a tough one though to take, isn't it? They're not exactly a good side, are they?
They're like traditionally a much smaller team, and in Spain, most of the teams are much smaller.
Mm. But they often
But
battle
still, yeah,
relegation, basically.
they what I'd like to say like Everton, but Everton are a much bigger club struggling, so it's not even
Mm.
the correct comparison.
They're more like a
No, they're more like what Southampton were.
yes, yeah, yeah. Struggle at the bottom and sometimes go
Yeah,
down.
good support, good like
But
reliance on their academy, like a lot of similarities, at least from my very little knowledge of them.
no, no, you got very. That's a very good choice there. A very good comparison, actually. Better than the
Yeah,
one I was
sometimes
thinking of.
yeah, sometimes they like travel the European places, and then next time they're like hanging by the thread.
Yeah, it's not. I'm gotta say, I'm not sure Rafa is the choice I would have made there for a team that with the academy being so integral to the way they build their sides. Because Rafa's not very. I've never known Rafa to really, really trust the youth.
And also, like, I'm not trying to say like Rafa spends a lot of money or anything, but Rafa relies on transfers.
Yeah,
That's
he's,
my
he's
impression of it.
yeah,
Like,
very much.
maybe look for what like out of favor players somewhere, or like uh, bargain kind of signing. But still, my impression is he tries to get, mm, like you said, like ready-made professionals in instead of throwing some money in the deep
Mm.
end.
Yeah, he's not. He's never been keen on um, blooding kids. He likes to build with the ready-made players. You're right there. Bit like Rodgers in that respect. Rodgers had all his best teams have been with the with youngsters, but as soon as he gets the chance, he'll just go and buy and replace them.
And
Oh,
also, like maybe with Celta, he's gonna get an influx of cash with the much hyped Gabri Veiga moving on.
yeah, that's true.
He's been doing decently well
If they
for
can hang
Spain
on
in the
to
under
him,
21s.
that would be a big thing. But I can't see it. I can't see him staying there for next season. I think he'll be one of the big moves later in the window.
It's not gonna be too big, but yeah, okay, sorry. I understand what you mean.
What about Andrea Pirlo to Sampdoria? Think he'll be a success there? What do you think? Good choice.
Sampdoria are in tatters, man.
Is
Got
Pirlo?
relegated. Got relegated. I like. I don't know whether the new owners under Gerard Rezani has wiped up the debt or not, but they're in like negative 200 millions.
I'm not sure if he can
That's
afford to.
again, but he's not the he doesn't outright own the club. He's just
Hmm.
one of many. I don't know whether they can stomach that actually. So
I
it's a
just.
difficult situation. It's a very sad. Like now they are someone who I can compare with Everton.
Yeah, the
Exactly.
mess.
And that's the same thing. Like I think I have the same concerns over them like I had with Everton. Had they been relegated,
Yeah,
they don't have. Yeah, the worst thing for any relegated team that can happen is not having sellable assets.
it's very true. Yeah, because you've got to
And
bring
yeah,
something in.
you've got to bring something in, and you also need to try and mm, be more creative in the market.
Mm.
And it's a team that had Harry Winks in midfield, so I don't know if it's fair, but
Have you
I think
seen?
I'm quite right in saying they're not that great. But back to Andre Pirlo, I think his time at Juventus looks better and better as the year goes on, with the troubles behind the
Yeah,
scene at Juventus being thrown in the forefront.
yeah. I've got to admit, I'm coloured because I read on him because I read his autobiography and I just found him an utterly tedious bore. You know, he just came across as so arrogant and up his own backside. I really didn't like him at all from his autobiography. You know what I mean? So I tend to be a bit coloured when I look at what he's done. I just think he's a waste of talent. He's one of the most talented players of all time, and he's just lazy. Didn't make anything of it really. And I know people think, but like if he's having other people to run for him, it's ridiculous. And I just wonder, can that translate when you're a manager, or do you think anybody actually cares about what they did as a player after the initial? Because I mean,
It's like if you walk into a dressing room first day, you're gonna get appreciation because you're a legend. But
mm,
as time passes on, you have to win them over with being a good coach because the novelty wears down. That's the thing.
what kind of style of play does he have?
I thought he was like a bad version of Mauricio Sarri, but maybe that was just a hangover at Juventus
Mm.
from Sarri's time.
Does he
I'm not
make
that.
Does he make the players
He,
work hard though? Is what I mean.
I don't know. I'm sorry, but I don't know. Like I said, he was immediately after Sarri, and I don't know how much he gets the credit for the way the team played. Not that they were that
Right.
amazing. And before anyone points out, yeah, I know he's had stints after that, but it was in Turkey. And I can't get my hands on Turkish football.
Yeah, that's difficult to.
And no, and also like he wasn't at one of the Turkish giants, so you could maybe get a look at his team in Europe either. So
Yeah, yeah. I mean, how else do you see Turkish football? Yeah, I mean, I've got to admit, it's not one I even know where you go about finding it online unless you subscribe to something like Scout or similar, and then you're only really, you're using that, you're looking at players rather than teams. So, one of those other scouting networks, quite a few of them. Mm.
it
So,
would be really nice to have a streaming service that covers like all of the major football leagues.
well, yeah, it would be. I mean, I'm finding it really difficult still to find the Premier League here. I'm still looking. I've got Serie A and loads of others. I can get like Liverpool TV, Man United TV, things like that. So I can get a lot of the games too. I'm not subscribing to them specifically. They're shown on one of the networks. So so I can watch like all the games involving those two teams and a few others, like. But the actual Premier League, I can't even get, let alone the Turkish League. Yeah. Anyway, I'm hoping somebody will figure out. Somebody will show them this season, hopefully. Yeah. So anyway, do you think he'll be a success at the end of the day? Do you think he'll get them back up?
I think he might. I think he's a decent. My impressions of him is he's a decent mid-level coach for Serie A. But my worry for him at Sampdoria is Sampdoria in tatters. That's the thing.
Yeah, I think his job is just basically to try and pull them together and get them fighting.
I think promotion shouldn't be on the forefront of the mind right now, I would think, because God forbid another relegation into Serie C.
Yeah, that's the important thing, is they've just got to get on, and Como have shown how difficult it is. So yeah, because they got nowhere, did they, in Serie B? In fact, they were so bad. Fabregas retired at a season early.
We can get on to that later on.
I don't think that's in.
Oh no, maybe we can get we can get onto it right now, because Fabregas retired and now he's a coach, so it's a coaching change as well.
Yeah, so I mean, I don't think that was in the list. I just don't remember it happening. Yeah, I mean, it was so bad there. They did so poorly. It was expecting that, they were obviously aiming to get promotion, and they were mid-table mediocrity at the end of the season. He decided to hang up his boots because he realised he's not the driving force he thought he would be there. But he's still a shareholder, isn't he, there and that? So it's interesting. Interesting team they are. What about, Robbie Fowler's in the Saudi Arabian second tier, Al Qadisiyah, of all things. Okay, I was reading they're limited to something like 9 foreign players per side, and they're starting to run out of spaces. So all these big, these big money moves they're making, they're not going to have many left. So
they can change the regulations.
Well, that's what I was going to ask you. Actually, do you think they'll change it?
The thing is, like, it's been marketed, the whole Saudi influx of cash has been marketed as like them trying to improve this overall football structure. The football, basically, they want to improve the Saudi national team so that when they eventually bid for the 2030 World Cup, that they can have a good team and all that. But I don't know how getting these players is gonna help improve the national team. That's not how it works.
No, and they've had this. The reason why I was asking it is because I don't know if you know much about Saudi Arabia, but they've got a big what they call a Saudization drive, and they've been trying to get because the Saudi people, like, basically when you get married, you get an income from the government. So none of them worked. Or you just sat at home. Well, why bother going to work if you get enough money? You get enough money to live like a king on. So none of them did, and so they've been trying to get people back to work because they've having an obesity crisis there, where everyone's obviously because nobody's doing anything, and I think that is as much a part of it because it's trying to get people to actually take part because kids will want to go along to train in the youth teams to work with these legends that are at the teams. I think that might be as big a part of it as anything, as in, like, rather than having them playing alongside in all part of the teams. I think that's more what it's about. It's inspiring kids to go along and play.
Okay, every day is school.
Well, they've had, it's really difficult because the kids they haven't, it's the same in the UAE and that because it's so hot. it's kids don't really, everywhere's air conditioned, so they go to the mall and stuff rather than play football. Because it's just for most of the year it's far too hot to really play properly. So it's the foreigners that tend to be out in the football courts playing. Anyway, yeah, so that's what I think that the idea of it is you bring in all these legends, you get the kids in the going joining up to the youth academies because they want to see these legends play up close and get a chance to speak to them and work with them and train under them and that. And that's how I think it will improve. That's how I think they're intending to improve their sides. I mean, and also obviously get kids off their backside and actually getting involved and doing something. Taking part in sports rather than sitting at home on computers all day. So. Anyway, what else we got? West Ham appointed Tim Steidten. Steidten, is it? Steidten? I don't know how you pronounce that. New technical director. They got him in from Leverkusen. He's a recruitment specialist. Now, that's for me. That's interesting because when David Moyes went in initially, they got rid of him at the end, replaced him with Maurizio Pellegrini, didn't they? After his first stint. The reason they replaced him is because he wanted to overhaul the recruitment side of things. He wanted to brand, he was saying the recruitment at West Ham was amateurish, and he wanted to, build a new recruitment setup. He wanted to bring in technical directors. He wanted all new scouting network, etc., etc. And he wanted, and take all the power away from the Sullivan and the Golds. He wanted it to be a football, the football people taking charge of it. So this, to me, I know a lot of people seem to think this is not a Moyes appointment, and he's, it weakens Moyes' position. But I think he's actually I think it's probably him that's been pushing for this, if anything. This is what he's been after. And they certainly need it, to be honest. Their recruitment is a bit mishmash, isn't it?
Like, it do likes to point out that it's a scattergun approach that they have. No long-term planning, no proper thinking put into it.
Yeah, they don't seem to target they need a left back, so they'll go and get a left back. It doesn't seem to work like that there. It just seems like, well, he looks like a decent player. We'll go and get him, but he plays on the right wing. It doesn't matter. We'll just take him anyway. That seems to be the way they think. There doesn't seem to be any thought process now. So maybe this will be a big step forward for them. Certainly spent a lot of money, when you look at how much they've spent. It's not like they've been shy of splashing the cash. I mean, they spent 150 million, was it, last summer? And then they nearly got relegated after that spend. So that's got to be a worry.
It's such a mess. There's no point dwelling on that. It's
yeah.
Any appointment, although I don't know much about it, but any appointment is a good thing.
Well, as long as he's taken the power away from the Davids, yeah, and yeah, I think that's a good thing. Yeah.
But I think it's a bit too late now because they had to try and replace Declan Rice.
Yeah, they really needed him in place, during
at
the
least
season.
6 months.
Yeah,
I would have said at least 6 months and preferably a year or two.
Yeah, so we had time to prepare and get all the choices in place. Yeah, you're right. Very good point. Because that's one hell of a player to replace for a club like West Ham. The driving force, the captain, best player. Yeah, it's not easy.
In air quotes, academy product.
Yeah. But it's big money, so they've got plenty. They've certainly got a war chest to spend to replace him, but you could just see them ending up doing a Spurs after they sold Bale and just buying a load of players that don't work out, can't you?
There's a world out there. There's a universe out there in which they have got McTominay replacing him.
Speaking of replacements, I see Pep lost another assistant manager. This time Rodolfo Borrell's off to the MLS to work for Austin FC.
My question is why? Genuinely.
Yeah, that's
How do you lose a guy to Austin FC?
when you're Man City of all things, That's the one thing I don't understand with this one.
And the only team in MLS that I would have understood is New York FC.
Yeah, because of their
and all that.
yeah, good point. I was thinking someone like the best supporting teams there, but I think you're right. You've got it spot on. Yeah, NYC is the only one that really makes sense, and Austin, I don't get it. I mean, well, he must see something there. Maybe he wants to build something from the ground up because they're a brand new franchise, aren't they? So maybe that chance just appeals to him. It's what he did at Liverpool when he joined them. Basically, he did it at Barcelona pretty much, and then he went into City and did the same thing. Maybe he just thinks it's time because he's not working in a role that he's really, maybe he's not happy as an assistant manager, and he wants the overall, to build the club rather than be a number two.
There's been a lot of changes at Man City. It seems like for a lot of these guys, it's like they've worked to get to this level, and now it's like job complete. Arrivederci, Man City.
Yeah, it is an odd end of season for them, considering they've won everything, and yet rather than all their players being desperate to stay, and go again, they all just seem to be wanting to leave, and that, it seems to be a much bigger turnover of players than I expected. And of course they missed out on Rice as well, which is a surprise for me. I really thought they'd get Rice. It seemed to make most sense.
Like they made one beat and stepped away. Like you said, like if they hadn't gone in after him at all, then maybe I would have okay, they didn't look in that direction. But once they look at Rice, I am also surprised they gave up that easily and that soon.
Pep seems to do that a lot, though. He's done it with quite a few players, and it's really odd. He seems to have this thing where he did it with Virgil van Dijk, he did it with Fred, who ended up at Man United.
Alexis Sanchez, Harry Maguire, half of our, like I said. I'm pretty sure at one point in time, the only scouting instruction for our team was find someone who Pep Guardiola is interested in.
Yeah. That wouldn't surprise me.
But in a way, it's kind of sensible for Man City to set a price tag for the target, and once the price goes above that, they just walk away.
Yeah, but with the Declan Rice thing, he was already at that price pretty much, and they went in, asked, and then walked away. It's really odd. It wasn't like he was at 20 million when they stepped in and the price went up to 80. It was Arsenal were already talking over 80 million at the time when they went in.
Apparently they went in with 90. Arsenal just bidded with 100, and Man City said, "We're gonna go away."
It's a very odd one, that one. Very odd. Yeah, anyway, should we go on to the next one? Steven Gerrard's taken over just a few days after saying he wasn't going to take the job in Saudi Arabia. He took the job in Saudi Arabia with Al Ettifaq. I'm sure it's nothing to do with the money though.
Is that Ittifaq or Ittafaq?
Who gives a fuck?
No, no, but me asking that is because if it is Ittafaq, then it means coincidence.
Does it? I didn't know that.
Yeah. If it is Ittafaq, or if it is supposed to be Ittafaq, then it means coincidence. that's
That would
that's
be.
quite a name.
Yeah, that would be
I'll,
an odd
I'll,
one.
I'll be very honest. The first time I read this news, I saw it somewhere. I thought it was a joke. The team name was a joke. I thought it was someone trying to be a bit clever with their name. With how it ends, we can all see it.
Hmm. No, it's one of the 4 teams owned by Thingy as well, isn't it? By
Yeah, yeah,
Piff.
yeah.
Oh. You have to wonder if they're seeing him, grooming him to as Eddie Howe's successor.
Another one, Eddie Howe can take a sigh, really breathe easily on this one. It's job security for him.
I don't think Gerrard's someone he certainly wouldn't be someone I'd be worried about if I was doing a decent job like Eddie Howe's been doing.
It's not decent, man. It's been a fabulous job from him.
Yeah, but I mean, they've only gone. They've gone into your. Yeah, I mean, yeah.
No,
I mean, I know
no,
I can't argue it. I was just going to say,
I can say any. You and I can say any, 100 million things, but the ultimate thing is he took over a relegation-threatened Newcastle team. He didn't have all the support and everything. It wasn't even a complete positive vibe around him either. There were some people even involved with Newcastle, even the support base, not completely enamored with him. And he's done he's exceeded expectation. That's the thing. Nobody. I don't think even the owners predicted them to get Champions League football this season. So
no. I think he's yeah. But what my point was, what I was meaning is, it's all he's done is cranked up expectations, and they're spending big this summer with Tonali. Tried to bring in Szoboszlai.
You became the victim of your own success.
Exactly, that's what I meant by I should have made that. The way I've worded it, yeah, you're correct. I'm making it sound like he's not doing. What I mean is, he's put himself in a position where he's got to keep doing better and better and better. Otherwise, it doesn't look like he's done so well.
Yeah, if they finish let's say they finish 8th next season.
Which is perfectly possible when you've got European football for the with the first time having Champions League.
And in isolation, an 8th place is a good result for Newcastle. But after spending money and then again getting into Champions League is gonna sting like a bitch.
Even though personally I would say they should be expecting a slight dip next season because of the Champions League qualification. So I hope they don't get an knee-jerk reaction and sack him if they do have a bit of a down year, because I think that'd be a bit unfair after the job he's performed so far.
Yeah, I think next season their objective should be to get into European football again.
Yeah, and just be competitive in the Champions League.
Yeah, and maybe make a good run in the cup like they did last season. And that should be their objective. And I hope, and I kind of expect them to not have delusions of grandeur already.
Yeah, you never know though. Like I say, and they've done so well. I think it's easy to get carried away, isn't it, and think you're better than you are. Happens all the time.
That's the worry. That's the worry.
Yeah. Yeah, anyway, next one, Leeds finally, after all this time, we spoke about Radrizzani earlier, now he's gone, obviously, been replaced by 49ers as owners, though we're still waiting for confirmation from the EFL, because they've got to check them all off as fit and proper, haven't they? Which, like, seems odd that it takes so long when their tests don't seem to actually work, but anyway, yeah, so they've appointed a new manager in Daniel Farke. Good choice, do you think? After a relegation?
He's made a name for being a championship expert, hasn't he? So you'd have to think it's gonna be a
Do you, do you think
good
his aim would
appointment.
be top 26th team or whatever it is to turn them into a top 24 team or something?
Not top
What?
26. That's his goal.
Yeah. Yeah, that was a very odd comment, that one. Do you think he'll say? Do you think he'll
No, but
still be seeing
no. The worst
that at
thing is the
Leeds?
worst thing is that comment came in when he was in Premier League. That's the thing.
Yeah,
If you're in the championship, then that's a very good comment to make. You just want to finish in the top six,
yeah,
preferably top two, but top six is a job well done.
yeah.
But if the worst you can do is 20, then why should you go to 26?
It was a very odd comment. It's yeah. That's the thing with him. If he's not learnt from that, then yeah, it's going to be a short-lived period. Even if he gets them up, he's going to be on his way soon afterwards, isn't he?
Yeah, but he comes after doing a decent year at Mönchengladbach.
Hmm.
Although the foundations were laid by the legend himself, Mr. Adi Hutter, and he just
Do
yeah,
you know, every time I get you, yeah, you know, you
I
mention
have to, I
Andy
have to
Hutter,
find a, yeah,
I always
I have
think,
to find I have to find some kind of string to tag with him.
yeah, yeah,
There has
that's
to be a link somewhere.
every week.
Yeah,
You've had 2 weeks to research it anyway, haven't you? This one. So,
yeah, and I know who replaced him at Mönchengladbach as well.
oh, go on then.
Yeah, Gerardo Seoane,
Okay.
previously at Leverkusen.
Ah, right. Yes, I know what you mean now. Sorry. It's
Yeah,
because I
like
read it
he's
totally different from the
yeah
pronunciation.
he's exactly the kind of guy we could use in the Eddie Howe situation. He did exceedingly well in his season at Leverkusen, got them into Champions League. Then had a very poor start to the season and got sacked.
Yeah, that happens so often. That's got to be a big worry for Eddie Howe.
Yeah, but let's say if he had got Leverkusen in the Conference League, for example, finished sixth, seventh, thereabouts, he would have still kept his job for the next season, and then he would have probably kept his job again, had gotten a longer leash
Yeah,
before getting the sack. Like some, I know, like Javi Alonso has been doing very well there, but sometimes you have to stick with the manager. Is all I'm trying to say.
yeah. No, I'm with you on that. I mean, you look at some of the bizarre decisions that get made, and you just think, just stick with the guy you've got in charge. Yeah, they're having a down year, but that happens. Even Bill, even I'm gonna say, yeah, Ferguson, Paisley, none of them won every year. Guardiola has a down year every couple of years as well. It's normally every third year that his teams struggle, don't they? And have an off season. I mean, would you sack him for that? No, you stick by him because you know the following season he'll have rectified it. Even if it means he's gone out and spent 7,000 billion on a new team, but he'll still have rectified it. So, you know, yeah, there's no patience among owners anymore. I think the next one we've got to mention is an odd one. Forest Green Rovers. They've done everything to try and get themselves publicity, any way, shape or form. But I'm not sure that's what they've done. I think he's. I think genuinely, I think she actually might actually deserve this chance, Hannah Dingley, as their manager. From everything I've read about her, I think she's actually, she's been close to a few jobs in the past and just been turned down because she's a woman. So this actually, I think whether it'll work or not, I'm not convinced because Forest Green Rovers are a bit of a, they're not, they're a non-league side basically. They're not really he's spent a lot of money, Vince Neil, whatever his name is, to get them into the football league and that. But in essence, their support is non-league. They're a very small club. I used to work with a guy who was a season ticket holder there. We used to call him Farmer because, worked in a factory and for some reason, and he had a farmer's accent, I think. But he was a big Forest Green Rovers fan and used to go there all the time. And yeah, they were just, he was like always trying to convince us to go along and watch with them. It's like, because the stadium's empty. It's just like, they're not a big club at all. But, so, do you think she's got any hope of succeeding?
I know.
Can she be a Cherry Lungi?
And don't make references to the TV so that I have never heard of.
Have you really never seen it? Oh, mate, you should look it up. The Manageress. Classic TV. That was when I was a kid. I used to have to stay up late for that. I'm sure it was on late at night. Oh, well, it might not have been. It might have seemed late because I was only young then.
When you were a kid, I wasn't even a twinkle in my.
No, but I'm just saying it's interesting because it is a woman football manager in the English football leagues. So it's well worth a look, though, mate, if you can find it. Classic TV. It'd be nice to see if she can reproduce this, some success, and be interesting. Just something different, just something different having another, another different manager in rather than the usual merry-go-round of failed managers that seem to just get job after job, don't they, normally? Speaking of which,
like the past year or so has seen the trend change a bit. The old tried and tested and safe hands aren't quite the first option anymore.
Yeah, they are starting to look more to younger managers, which is good. It's certainly be an interesting experiment, if nothing else, anyway, to see if she can cope with the players and that, because it can't be easy. Because they won't be as accepting as as they would be if it was a male coach with the same experiences. So, speaking of, anyway, there's not really a lot we can say. It's lower leagues. Don't know enough about about her to really get into it, do we? So, but yeah,
if the clue wasn't in the name, I wouldn't know what color kit they played in.
If I remember rightly, I think it was their kit was basically Celtics kit. The green and white hoops or stripes. I can't remember whether they actually had stripes. Actually, I think that was what their kit was, if I remember rightly.
No, I know a bit about them because they're an offbeat club, support like veganism and all those things like you mentioned, things that can get you columns in the article. That
they get themselves column space in the Guardian.
Yeah, wouldn't necessarily be given to a team in the league they play. That's the thing. They're an offbeat team that can make headlines from time to time, but ultimately they're, like you said, they're a non-league football team that plays in English Football League. Anyways, instead of trying to then maybe we can go.
Yeah, well, I think there's one that I missed off the notes because it happened after I'd typed out the notes for us for this. The PSG getting rid of Gaultier and bringing in Luis Enrique, which is, for me, it's a very bizarre move. Not to get rid of Gaultier, but why Enrique? I mean, why was his name in the hat for all sorts of jobs? I don't understand it. I don't rate him at all. You?
I think he's a decent hand, but I don't know whether he is what PSG need. That's gonna be the issue. Like we've discussed before on the PSG podcast we did. There is a certain type of coach that they need for now, for a few years. It's not just about being a good coach either. It's like they basically need like someone who can, for lack of better word from me, who can bully the dressing room and who the dressing room cannot bully back.
Yeah, he's got a
cannot
bit of
outmuscle. Yeah, someone. They need a manager who can outmuscle these prima donnas and not get flustered when they come back fighting. And I don't know if Enrique is that. I don't think he's in that mode.
No, I don't see it at all. I don't see it as a good move. He doesn't play particularly good football. He doesn't appeal to me at all.
And ultimately, I think we have to consider his time with Spain a failure.
Ugh, they're awful.
They didn't really compete for Mascherano's during his time.
No, I'm just not convinced he's actually any good at. I'm just not convinced he's any good at the job. Personally, sorry, I don't know why he's in for big jobs. He should be a lower league
Because he's
manager.
won the treble, man. That's very easy to explain. Because he's won the treble.
Yeah, but like I say, and what I'm telling, I don't think that's to do with him being great as much as having the luck of having handed the team to do it. You know what I mean? It's a bit like saying Claudio Ranieri winning the league with Leicester. Does that mean he's a great league winning manager? No, he's just, it's just a combination of things that mesh together to give him that opportunity. Never to be repeated. Yeah. Speaking of PSG, I see, there's a couple of things regarding them. Messi having a dig at their fans for booing him, saying that's the way they act in Paris, the PSG fans. And then Al Khalifi saying that Mbappe either signs a new deal now or gets sold. But
hang on. Did the Mbappe news, can we call it news? I don't know. Did it break before our last podcast or after?
After he said it like when he announced Enrique. He said that statement. People have been saying it was gonna. Oh, you mean that he wants to leave?
The Mbappe news, yeah.
Oh shit! I don't know. I do not know.
I think that might have been after that, after our last podcast.
Yeah, could well be. I don't know now. Good point. It's been so long. I've got a bit confused. I lost track.
Because this is the third week. We've had 2 Thursdays go in between.
No, I think you're right. I think it did.
What do you make of that? What do you make of that whole situation? That even if we had, we can just discuss it again.
Yeah, it's a very odd situation. I mean, he turned down the chance to go to Real Madrid to stay there, and now it looks like he's basically decided no, he wants to go there after all. It's a really odd thing going on. Well,
Doesn't it just seem like he regrets signing this contract and just.
I really do not know what's going on there. It's a really odd one. It does feel like he's thought, nah, this isn't working. Actually, these are never going to be really competitive in York. We're never going to win it here, so I need to go. That's how it feels to me, anyway.
Do you think like the success Haaland has seen at Man City's got something to do with it?
Are you
Maybe.
trying to build up a new
No, no. I
competitive
think. Do you think?
thing scene?
No, I think. Do you think Mbappe maybe kind of feels threatened that there's someone else to compete with him for the best player award?
Well, the thing is, both players plan on joining Real Madrid. It seems to be what they're looking for to play, and they'll be playing together. So, how would that work if that's the case?
I don't know. Maybe that is why Mbappe is trying to push through this move
I
so
don't.
that he can get there earlier and maybe situations
Yeah,
become so that.
be the key man when when Haaland joins. So he's
Or
not a
maybe,
number two.
or maybe Holland doesn't do it. Like he himself knows that things can change because he was joining Real Madrid for 12 months and then he didn't.
Yeah, but it's in his contract, isn't it, that he can move to Real Madrid for a set price? And you can't see that not being made to happen next summer when the contract clause comes up. You'd have to be, if you were Madrid and you're desperate for a striker because of Benzema going, and they still don't seem to have found any kind of replacement. So yeah, do you think Mbappe will move there this summer?
I think it's gonna happen because unless he signs an extension,
Mm.
PSG have to say cash in on him.
But I think the problem is Real Madrid might not have the cash because of buying Bellingham. I think they might have shot, like we've said all along, they've shot themselves. Great as Bellingham is, he is exactly what they didn't need, and it might well lead to them being a bit stuck when it comes to signing the striker they actually need. Because I'm not sure that they've got the wiggle room in FFP, both La Liga's FFP and UEFA's, to go out and spend the money that needs to be spent on Mbappe and pay him the wages he would need.
I don't think wages are gonna be as big of an issue because
The FFP.
Benzema left, Hazard, Eden Hazard also left.
Mm,
I think the bigger issue would be transfer.
well,
The
Bellingham's
transfer
already
itself.
on more than either of those two that are left.
No, not at all, not at all. Hazard was an enormous wages. I don't know about Benzema, but Hazard was an enormous wages.
Mm, yeah,
Maybe they will sell one or two
for a
players.
year. You got to remember, it was a few years ago Hazard was signed. He was on enormous wages for the time, but wages had gone up.
But still,
With
I
the
think it was.
signing fee that being paid in the in the contract as well, and that.
But it was about 400K, I'm pretty sure.
Hazard, yeah.
However much,
Hazard,
yeah,
yeah, that's about 400k, but Bellingham's getting more than that because of the signing fee spread through his
however
contract.
much it was, but my point is they've lost two significant
Hmm.
earners. If they can move on one or two more players,
Yeah, they've got
then
to move on
maybe
more players. But that's what I'm
maybe
saying. They brought Bellingham in, and he's on more than Hazard was or Bellingham was. Benzema was. Then they bring in, you've got to add Mbappe as well. You don't have much. The FFP regulations in La Liga are very strict, much stricter than UEFA's. And it's the wages that are the big issue, and I think they're going to have to shift quite a few players on. I think. I know they've lost quite a few, but I think they still need, if they're going to buy Mbappe, because wherever Bellingham's on, he's going to be on a hell of a lot more.
No, he's not. Sure, he's not gonna take a pay cut to join Real Madrid this summer when he can join them next summer for free, anyways.
Exactly. You got to think that like the only reason Real Madrid have let Benzema go now is because they've got a plan in place to replace him, though. Which probably Mbappe. So they must have a plan in place to get there.
But it's not quite simple as them letting Benzema go because they were ready to, sign him up for a year.
No, he still had a year contract. He was on his last. That's what I'm saying. They released him to go there. They cancelled the contract with him, his final year.
No, I think what I read is like, from what I read, what I understand is they had a deal for next summer. Sorry, next season they had they had agreed a deal for next year, one more year, but they hadn't officially signed it off. They were planning to do it at the end of the season, and then Benzema received this enormous bid from Saudi Arabia, and then
his contract was listed on all the contract sites as running until the end of next season. So I don't know, but that's what I believe was he still had another year left and they let him go. That's the way it was.
Let's just move on from Benzema, whichever way it happened. We've discussed it many times.
Yeah. Anyway,
but if you're Real Madrid, where do you go to such lengths to sign Mbappe this season when he's not gonna be a direct replacement for Benzema because he's not gonna provide you the focal point that Benzema did.
But who would they going to sign?
He ideally wants to play from the right, from the left. That is where his best player plays. So the quality of the player is undoubted. That's not the question. But again, like we said with Bellingham, is that the position you spunk so much chaos on right now?
I wouldn't have said so, but this is Real Madrid, and they don't seem to have. They seem to have reverted back to losing their minds. Since since this season started, in particular, last season finished, and they're completely out of sight behind a very poor Barcelona side. I think they're a bit panicky now. They can't afford to let Barcelona beat them again.
Yeah, I would think they would be better off spending this 100+ million on Haaland, and more ideally Harry Kane or even Victor Osimhen.
Yeah, I'm with you, but that isn't the way Real Madrid work, though, is it? And
they work like a video game. That's the thing.
Yeah,
this guy
and they're going to use Ancelotti next season. They tried to lose him this summer, obviously, as we know. They approached a couple of managers, including Klopp, to try and get them to come in instead. But now Ancelotti's off to Brazil to take charge of the Brazilian national team, according to the Brazilian Federation, next summer. Seems an odd one. Yeah, I don't get that one at all, do you?
But what happens in the meantime? Does Brazilian national team stop? What happens?
Is Tite still there?
No, Tite isn't there.
So who's in charge of them over the next year, like?
I don't know, some random guy. I don't know. Maybe he's gonna have his son be the acting coach.
Oh God, they really that's what they don't need. See, that's the problem is if his son's going with him.
Surely he's gonna go. Why would he? Why would he not? Where else can he go?
Mm. Do you think the team will perform for Ancelotti knowing he's leaving as well? Do you not think that'll? Could it be a spur to make them play better because they like him, or will it have the opposite effect? A bit like when Ferguson announced his retirement early and it all fell apart, didn't it? The season, and he ended up retracting it and staying because it was all going wrong. And has happened many other times as well at other clubs, like.
And also, like, we have to think, even as fans, if let's say this scenario could happen, let's say they have a similar season to this one that just ended, and they lose a crucial match. Let's say they lose an El Clasico or a Madrid derby, quite in a not so respectful manner. Then would the fans not be on his back now? I think
Exactly.
like, oh, he's he's going anyways. He doesn't care.
Yeah, I could see that exactly. The white handkerchief should be out. Yeah, I think it's yeah, he's on dodgy ground. That's probably why he's not announced it himself, and they're the only ones that have said it. Yeah, I always think it's a bit worrying when it's announced a bit, a year early. You know, it doesn't matter whether it's a transfer or a manager move, whatever. It always, it never seems to work out, does it? Look at, do you remember Pep Guardiola was announced before the season before he actually joined Bayern Munich? They'd already appointed him basically a year before, and then they go and win everything under oh shit, what was
You
his
find
name?
this.
Yeah, Jupp Heynckes. Yeah, they won everything, but they were stuck in this contract with Pep Guardiola. So what did they do? They had to go through with it when really it probably wasn't the best move as it turned out, despite his success there. Yeah, I'm never keen on those early announcements. Just get it done at the time because things change and you never know what'll happen. Anyway, should we move on to other news away from managers quickly? There's obviously Everton's been in a bit of turmoil as we know, but they've announced Ken Wright. Pretty much everybody else left the board, but Ken Wright staying as chairman. But now Farhad Moshiri, who knows absolutely bugger all about football as we know, has joined the board to put his input into football manage. Put more input into the football team, which just seems a bit of a recipe for disaster, doesn't it? As if they're not in enough trouble. What is he thinking of appointing himself to the board?
I'm surprised he hadn't done it before.
Yeah, but now, I'd have understood if he'd done it initially, but now, after the disaster under his control and the fact that he's been in charge for it, you'd think you'd want to steer clear of it a bit, wouldn't you? So you can point at somebody else and blame them now. Odd. What else has happened while we've been away? Oh yeah, Jose Mourinho given a 10-day suspension from the start of next season in Serie A after calling referee Daniele Schifi the worst referee I've met in my life. That was the conversation that he said he'd recorded to protect himself. Remember? Do you remember that? That was a while ago now, wasn't
I,
it?
yeah, it was. It was months now.
Yeah, it was but it wasn't even like at the end of the season. It was midway through, wasn't it? Like March or even February time or something.
I have a feeling. I have a feeling. I don't know why, but I have a feeling that Jose Mourinho is gonna win the Serie A next season.
Really? It'd be interesting. I mean, it's certainly possible. It's such a messy
Because yeah, Serie A is in like it's it's in a very odd situation right now. Napoli, they're gonna be led by Rudy Garcia. Doesn't fill me with confidence.
Mm.
Spalletti would rather like go and do some farming than deal with De Laurentiis. Juventus, the less said the better. Inter Milan are in financial trouble.
Yeah.
AC Milan are also in financial trouble. Both teams are quite unstable. And even with all the speculation surrounding Jose Mourinho, right now, at least as far as I'm concerned, Roma seem to be the most consistent and
Mm.
most stable team right now. Closely followed by Lazio, who are not that great.
What about Atalanta?
They are not quite as good, sadly.
No.
Maybe next season they can make the change, but
Probably the best chance they'll ever get, though, to win it, isn't it, next season? With it being such a mess, the Serie A. Should we move on?
but,
Yeah. Oh,
but
go
it's
on.
looking like they might lose one or two key players.
They tend to lose
Atalanta.
key players every season, though, don't they? And it doesn't seem to really affect them badly.
No, they don't lose key players in their system, but with Mary Demiral, for example, he's been very, he's been a regular for them. He's been a good contributor for them. And Rasmus Højlund.
Yeah.
If they end up losing them, then it might uh, it might set them back a little bit. It might take them a few more games to get it approved.
Yeah, you got a
Uh,
point.
and Roma don't seem to be in the risk of losing any of their key players.
Yeah, they do look to be the team that's got the best chance. They're the one that you'd, if you were gonna uh,
Yeah,
gamble.
yeah. From outside looking in, for me,
Yeah.
they look the most stable team. That's my
Mm.
point. And Jose Mourinho has proven that he can win
And the fans are
leagues.
still behind him, which is important. So, yeah, yeah, I think you've got a good point there. I can see
I,
that
I
happening.
just wanted to make a prediction, and if it were to come good, I just want to be the guy to say like, oh, I was the first one to say it.
Mm. Yeah, no, I think it's a good shout that.
And if it is wrong, then hey ho, Seamus got something wrong. No, no,
Just add it to the
no big
list.
news.
We're only on the 45th to A4 page anyway, so you know nobody will
The
notice
list,
when you get it
the
wrong.
list is longer than the Lance Armstrong article itself.
Most of that was just listing the drugs he used. That's the problem. Of that. That's why it was so long, because he used so many. Uh, anyway, yeah. So we move on. N'Golo Kante, he's bought a third-tier Belgium side, and they were only
How
promoted to
much?
the third tier, and he's going to be the club chairman.
I just want to say this: how much money are Saudis paying these players, man? He
Yeah,
moved to Saudi, and 1 week later, he's buying a football club.
I know that's, and he wasn't like highest paid at Chelsea by any means. He was not one of
Yeah,
the big.
but he was handsomely. He was paid handsomely. Let's not pretend like he
No, he
was
wasn't.
living off of peanuts. But
No, he wasn't being paid peanuts. But like compared to like some of the players there, I mean, he wasn't like one of the big earners at the club. Yeah, so must be less, of course. But why a Belgian side as well? That's the other thing I don't get. Why
why?
this
Yeah,
team?
why not one of the French teams?
Yeah, that's what I don't understand. He's French, not Belgian. I don't know what ties he's got to Belgium or Royal Excelsior Virton, who I've never heard of. I mean, they've only just got promoted to the third tier as well. It's not like they're a team, they're below their usual level or anything.
Yeah, they're not like a fallen giant.
No. Oh, good luck to him. He always comes across as a nice lad, like, but yeah, I can't see the thinking
Yeah,
behind
but
this one.
whatever you say, the narrative around Kante that he's such a nice guy. He just plays football for the love of the game, and he drives an old minivan or whatever it was and all that.
Mini. It's no mini.
But as soon as the Saudi money comes, I uh, no,
Yeah.
I'm very honest. Like it leaves a bit of a bad
That
taste
is
in
a
it. Like
very good point.
Ronaldo goes there. Yeah, he chased after money. You can understand. Benzema goes there. He was chasing after the money. You can understand. Kante had the reputation that he plays the game for the love of the game, and
Mm.
he's a nice guy, sweet guy outside the game, and doesn't care about any other things, and doesn't have a fancy life and all that. But like I've said before, after a certain point, there is a point, and after that, the amount of money can become so much for you to like forget about anything else. That might be 1 million for you and I, but even for these multimillionaires, after a certain point, it just becomes too good to like refuse.
Yeah, I mean, it is a very surprising move. So, but I suppose, like, the question is, did he? I mean, maybe Chelsea had told him they weren't going to give him a contract. But you'd think there'd be other options on the table for a player like Kante, even with his injury problems. Oh yeah, see, it has to have been about the money, really, doesn't it? Speaking of money, I see Cardiff City have been ordered to pay the last two instalments of the Salafita Nantes, which is bizarre. This is still going on. Still got 9.45 million to pay. But the odd thing is that, like, they're saying they're still challenging the legality of the transfer in a French court. But part of the French police at this time, just at the same time, arrested a number of Nantes. Is it Nantes or Nantes? I can't.
No,
Nantes employees, part of an investigation into things such as organised gangs, money laundering, and illegal exercise activity of a sports agent, forgery and the use of forgery, misuse of corporate assets, and laundering of aggravated tax fraud. So this something bizarre going. There's a lot more to this story than initially it seems. It's not just Cardiff being dicks, which obviously they still are coming across as dicks. Why not? But like, yeah, there's obviously some dodgy stuff going on as well.
but I just see that Cardiff filed a counter suit
Yeah,
for
100 million.
100 million. Even if they were to win that counter suit, Nons will never be able to pay that.
No, that's a fair point. Yeah, the thing is, they wouldn't. You sue for a fee, an amount well above what you're actually aiming to get anyway. I mean, you know, so I'm sure Cardiff aren't expecting to get 100 million out of them. If they are, then they must be fucking idiots. That's all I can say. So, speaking of odd stuff, in Brazil, did you see the one of the players, Corinthian fans, went into a hotel to dragged out and attacked one of their own players, Luan. Um,
Is this the same one that was once playing
Victory
for
Liverpool, yeah,
Liverpool?
yes, that's the one. Yeah, apparently he's been playing poorly, and they got their asses in their hands about it, and thought that was the way to deal with it. I'm sure that's really going to make him want to play better for the team, isn't it? You know. Gotta say, it wouldn't make me want to
Bunch
play
of
for the team.
idiots. Bunch of idiots.
Mm. Yeah, I can just imagine the next transfer, next time they go in for the transfer of a player, and he looks at it and goes, "Whoa, hang on. You know, what are you going to do to protect me if I have a bad run of games?" Like, because, oh, well, I don't want to be attacked in a hotel, do you? Yeah, very stupid. I think we should get onto the transfers now, though, because there's quite a few to get through.
So many.
Yeah, I've just picked out a few, basically, to try and keep it short, you know, try and keep it within manageable proportions. So, like, Justin Kluivert, as we were speaking about AS Roma, he's left them to join Bournemouth for around 10 million. I think, I can't remember what the actual amount is. Not sure. What do you think of him as a player?
He had a decent start to his career, but it's all gone downhill now. He's, he's not done so well.
Yeah,
And I kind of wonder if he would still be getting these opportunities if his last name wasn't Kluivert.
that's what I was. That's basically what I was wondering. I don't see him as that good personally from what I've seen of him. He's not impressed me at all. I'm very surprised Bournemouth went for him.
But maybe Raul can work some magic.
Yeah, Bournemouth is. Yeah, it's not like he's not going to be under much pressure there anyway. So if we can't perform there, then he's not going to perform anywhere, is he? Unless maybe he's the type of player that actually needs the pressure, but he wouldn't have thought so. He'd be performing well everywhere, wouldn't he? Yeah. Anyway, so next up, Ruben Neves, Wolves to Al Hilal, alongside where he'd be playing alongside Kalidou Koulibaly, who left Chelsea to go to Al Hilal, but he went on a free. Whereas Ruben Neves cost them like 45 million or something.
Yeah, somewhere around that reason.
No,
And again, I
sorry,
think
no, Koulibaly cost 20 million. It was Kante that went
yeah,
on a free.
Neves cost 40 something.
Yeah, and Koulibaly cost 20 million-ish.
And
So
to
they've
think
spent some money there.
Neves wanted, I would to think Neves wanted to leave for European football.
Yeah. Well, he's not going to get much fucking European football in Asia, is he? Unless he means we can watch it. Maybe he's got fed up of only being, not being able to watch him at 3 p.m. on a Saturday. Because of that
Maybe he
ban.
wants to watch League On.
Yeah. I don't know, it's very odd though, isn't it? I understand the Koulibaly one because he was done anyway. He was obviously not the player everyone thought he was anyway. He was there. Always. I always thought he was a bit of a glory
And
hound. He
I'll
just
even be
turned up for the
honest,
big games.
for the likes of Koulibaly, maybe
Yeah, end of his career for
it's
Koulibaly.
it's not just end of career. It also suits their profile, like they're from the F, like the religion and everything suits them much better than
Yeah, it's a
personal.
good point. Yeah, fair point. Yeah. Yeah, they're Muslim, so it's a Muslim country. Raz Neves isn't. It's going to be a big change for him to go out there. That's for sure. It's slight different from Wolverhampton, that's for sure. But yeah, that's a that was a
Surely,
very
surely,
long
if he
move.
had stuck around, if he had stuck around for at least, let's say, till almost towards the end of the transfer window, surely he would have gotten a move to a team playing in Europe.
You would think so.
Competition.
That's what I don't understand. I see why Al Hilal wanted to get the move done early, but maybe Wolves also wanted it done early.
Now, since we're talking about Neves, there was some conjecture, some rumors going around like, oh, they just signed him to get around FFP and they're gonna loan him to Newcastle.
Yeah, no.
But what is there to stop that?
What is it to stop that happening? Nothing, in essence. But why would they want to do that? Newcastle could have just gone and signed him if they'd wanted him, but they signed somebody else. So I don't think that was ever on the cards. I don't think Newcastle had any interest in him. That's why he went. That's why they didn't sign him. To be honest, I've got to be honest. I think if you're in the position Newcastle are in at the moment, and everyone watching you and waiting for you to do something wrong, I think you've got to play it by the book anyway, haven't you? You've got to be a bit careful to prove you're all you're all kosher and above board, like.
You, like everybody is waiting for you to make some underhanded move, some misstep somewhere along the line. So for sure, you have to be as careful as you can be.
Yeah, because it's not like the Saudi regime is well liked. So, the last thing you need is to bring more reasons for people to be against you, because it could make it difficult. And then anyway, this move on to Chelsea managed to get rid of a few more of their unwanted players. In Edward Mendy as well he went off to Al Ali for 15 million. I'm not sure why they'd want him. He's not even very good. But I see why Chelsea wanted him off. Al Ali were the team that also signed Roberto Firmino on a free as well. So.
He was linked with Real Madrid, man. It's kind of, it is worrying to see all these players go to Saudi Arabia.
Do you think so? I think it's a very short-term thing. Like I said, I think they'll just spunk some cash in and it'll be. But they're never going to maintain it because they'd have to keep spending like this every single season without the income coming in. On the other hand, to fund it, it's coming out of the PIF's pockets basically. I just can't see the value in it for an investment fund. It's not really an investment, is it? Just throwing away money, really. Anyway, speaking of Chelsea, they brought in a forward at last. He's a good goal scorer, in my opinion, from RB Leipzig. Obviously, this has been in the works for a while. 60 million-ish for Nkunku. I think that looks a signing they could have done with doing a long time ago, though.
But I think this is one thing where we kind of disagree on it. But I think it's a surplus signing for them because I don't think he's a striker as such, not a focal point. I would think like ideally he would be better off as a support striker,
Mm.
a left forward kind of position, and that is where they already spent 100 million on with Modric.
Was it? Sorry? Oh,
They signed
Mudryk,
Modric,
yeah,
who
of course, yeah.
is
Sorry, I thought you
also a
said
left.
Modric. I was thinking Luka Modric. Yeah, forgot. Yeah, but he doesn't.
That is why I just that these are the things I don't understand with Chelsea's recruitment.
Yeah, and they knew Nkunku was coming in as well. It wasn't like they signed Mudryk not knowing they got Nkunku. Oh, it's a very odd one, that one. Yeah, they seem to be a bit scattergun as well, but I suppose it takes a while to sort out what you're doing when you're fresh into a club, doesn't it? To really get the handle on things. So I'm sure they'll sort it out in time. But like they might just waste a lot more money on players they don't need in the meantime. Burnley signed Darrell O'Shea from West Brom, and they're trying to sign half of Manchester City's cast-offs unwanted players as well, which obviously Vincent Kompany's trying to help his old club out there, make sure they're okay for FFP.
Yeah, but Man City do have quite a lot of talent coming out of the academy.
Yeah.
It's not the worst idea.
No, I was joking. They have got a decent academy. They've got like 13 clubs that feed it, so plus they can buy players. Sorry, no, they can't legally buy players, but they're buying players anyway. Youth players to bring into the youth team to fill up the squad with the best of the best kids. So, but still, it does seem a bit like. It is a bit of a worry when when he's spending money at his old club like that. I don't know why. It just feels like there's something, it's more about doing a favour than actually need. What else? Tom Davis has left Everton on a free. Dejan Kulusevski's completed his permanent move to Spurs from Juve. See, they've been spending quite a bit, haven't they? Or trying to spend quite a bit this summer, Spurs.
I mean, this was mostly a pre-arranged move.
Yeah, that was one that they'd had him on loan, so I think they were tied into the deal anyway, weren't they? Wasn't that a obligation to buy they'd loaned him with?
No. It was an option to buy, which would turn into an obligation had they qualified for Champions League, which they didn't. So
Right.
it was not an obligation.
Yeah.
It's a good move and a very decent fee for
Yeah, they just need
someone
to
who
keep
is
him
gonna
fit.
who's gonna start for them. It's a good it's a good all round move. Try before you buy. You tried it, it fit well. It's a win-win for them.
Yeah.
What I don't understand is why you would have let him go in the first place, but Juventus
I
don't
understand
make
now
sense.
because they're skint now and they have to sell. They desperately need to sell players now because they're in real trouble for money. But I'm with you on. I don't know why they loaned him out in the first place because they weren't in the position they're in now.
At least not in the light of day. Maybe behind closed doors they already knew what was on the offering, but at that time this didn't make much sense because he wasn't someone they picked up for 5 million. He was a big money signing to begin with.
Yeah, it's been a very odd move altogether. Especially as he was more than good enough to walk into their team as well. Wasn't like he was a fringe player who's going to get nowhere near the side. He was good enough to be a regular. Yeah. Right. What's next? Similar price from Mateo Kovacic, gone from Chelsea to Man City, which I feel is a really, really bizarre move.
It's a downgrade.
Yeah. You don't get Rice, you go and get Kovacic instead. It doesn't make any bloody sense, that one, to me. He's not even... I can't see how he fits in the City side.
You let Gundogan leave on a free. I know he wanted to move, but still. And then replace him with an inferior player and end up spending around 25 million to do that.
Yeah, very bizarre. Very, very odd, that one.
They are Man City. They are Man City. They could have gone for someone
Well,
a
they
bit
could have got
higher
Rice.
up without a ball.
That's the thing, they already had, they had it. They were in a position they could have just gone and completed the signing of Rice, and then it would have been a step up rather than a step down. But yeah, it's very, very odd move.
They could have gone in for Alexis McAllister.
Mm.
I'm not trying to be funny.
Yeah, no, or there's plenty of others. I mean, you go around that Vega. There's loads around the world. Could have gone for
No,
Thuram.
but no, my example. Look, my example of McAllister is he ticks a lot of the same boxes that Kovacic does.
But he's a lot better player. Yeah.
Yeah, Premier League proven, experienced, but has a few years left. I know Kovacic is a bit older than Mac, but still. If they were gonna spend around 30 million on a midfielder that has Premier League experience, then a World Cup winner wouldn't be that bad of a shout.
Mm. Yeah, it doesn't. It would have made more sense to me as well, but I'm glad they didn't because we got him, and I'm really pleased with that signing. Not as pleased as I am with the other signing, but for some reason I don't know why. I'm just really excited about that one. Yeah. Anyway, we'll move on to the next one. It is I think he's a young goalkeeper if I remember rightly, Guglielmo Vicaria from Empoli to Spurs, around 20
He's
million.
only 26. I know
Hmm?
it's young for. Isn't he 26?
Oh, am I thinking of it? No, I'm thinking of the teenagers, the player Chelsea signed from Benfica, isn't it? The youngster. That's the youngster I'm thinking of. Does
Yeah,
he?
26 is a young age for goalkeepers, but
Yeah,
I
it's not.
wouldn't necessarily label him a youngster.
Yeah, but as a replacement for Loris, it's a bit of a.
It is
It's
a
not very.
youngster compared to Loris.
Yeah, but it's not very exciting. When you consider that there's, AC Milan are in trouble for money. You've got Mike Maignan there. Surely, you go and get the best you can. Sure, yeah, but maybe he's good this Vicaria. I don't know.
No,
Well,
I think he comes with a very good reputation. He supposedly had a very good season with Empoli, and I think it might turn out to be a very good move.
mm,
It's a sensible move if you ask me.
he can't be worse
You
than
don't always
Loris.
yeah, you don't always need to bring in the sexy big name.
Hmm. Yeah, and the position Spurs are in, I suppose. Someone from
Yeah, and they
Empoli
went
is about.
in for David Raya. Uh, looked it looked a difficult deal for them to pull off, and they went in a separate direction.
Hmm.
My only worry is, can he be the starting goalkeeper for them from day one?
I
That's
think
the
well, he has to be. I think at the moment because they've not got a lot of other
no. He
options,
has
have
to.
they?
As things stand, he has to be. But is he ready to be the first goalkeeper for them in the Premier League right now?
At 26, he should be looking to be some. Anyway, next one, we've already touched on it. Gundogan off to Barca from Man City for on a free. Then another Spurs transfer coming into Spurs, a man who's admitted and publicly on social media on a number of occasions that he hates Spurs. So Spurs have gone and signed him in James Maddison. It's really just an odd one, isn't it? Surely you can find a player that doesn't have a history of posting on social media about how much he hates your team.
Yeah, but a certain £100 million player also wants hope that his current team would win the league, and their City rivals would.
Yeah, but they've not
Do
got
you
a
know?
fan.
Do you know who I'm
Yeah,
referring to?
Grealish wanted Man
Yeah.
United to beat Man City. Yeah, I remember. But Man City fans, there's not exactly a lot of them to worry about. Whereas, they're not going to. They're just a bit, aren't they? Their fans, they're not turning on play. They're not going to turn on him even if he doesn't work out, because they'll just get rid of him. But Spurs, I mean, he could, the fans could turn on him very quickly if it doesn't work out. And he's not got the best track record of off-field, for an off-field attitude. Spent a number of occasions he's been dropped for not turning up for training because he's been drunk. Yeah, it's a worrying one. That one, I think it's an odd move.
Yeah, but when I look at this transfer, one thing this does make me feel is if James Madison from a relegated Leicester is worth 40 million plus, then it makes a lot more sense when you look at the transfer fees paid for the likes of Mason Mount.
Yeah, that's true. It does. Even though he's only got 1 year left on his contract, and that, it did make.
Madison had 1 year left on his deal.
Yeah, it did make sense. Yeah, in comparison to the price. Yeah.
Yeah, if you compare the prices that are going around with James Madison, then it doesn't look as cheap.
No, it's and he's in a different position. He's not a troublemaker who's got dropped or anything. He's known for his hard work. Been a key player
And
of the season.
People can't even bring up his injury riddled season because Madison has the same. No, Madison has much worse injury concerns.
Yeah, exactly. Does. Yeah, it's not. It's both. Yeah, no. It does make the price seem a lot less.
Yeah. Leicester have done a really good job getting that much money for him.
Yeah, especially after relegation, and they were financially a bit stuck anyway.
I suppose I'm surprised the Spurs didn't drag this out a bit longer.
Speaking of good deals for the selling club, Chelsea getting 65 million for Kai Havertz from Arsenal.
And like I said before, I'll ask it again. Where the hell does he play?
I just don't get it at all. I really do not understand that move. They've just signed Odegaard again, and they've already got Odegaard. So why pay 65 million? I really do not get their transfer policy under Arteta.
I know you're not the biggest admirer, but they've got Gabriel Jesus to play through the middle. They've got the best right winger in the world, according to ESPN FC.
Yeah. And he's very good though.
And he's very good, whether he's the best or not, but he's very good in Bukayo Saka. So 2 places are already out of question. Gabriel Martinelli is the next big thing. He's the greatest discovery since sliced bread. That's what Arsenal supporters lead you to believe. So that's
Yeah.
another position that's a no-go. Okay, you you don't rate him as highly, but for some people, Odegaard was better than De Bruyne last season. Odegaard,
Wow.
for some people, Odegaard was like in up there as a leading contender for Player of the Season.
Wow.
Now, surely he's not gonna displace Odegaard either, considering the fact that Odegaard is the club captain. So where the hell does he play?
Just don't get it. I really don't. The only thing I can think of is if they intend to play Odegaard deeper, but he's not really. I mean, it seems like he's a replacement for unless they, or Havertz play him a bit deeper as the replacement for Xhaka.
Yeah, but if you want to
Play
sign
Xhaka.
someone to play number 8, then you
Signing
sign
number 8.
number 8.
Yeah, that's what I'm with. I'm with you all the way, but that seems to be the only thing that it could possibly be.
I think football has gone crazy with all these teams trying to rip off Manchester City and try to play with two number 10s and one defensive midfielder. It's not gonna work for you because you don't have a system that's built around having 80% possession.
Hmm. Yeah, I can't see that move at all. I just don't understand it. It makes no sense to me, but time will tell, I suppose, and we might prove to be wrong. Yeah, it has happened, I'm sure, before, but I can't think of an occasion when either of us have been wrong off the top of my head, obviously.
Because I've never been wrong, that's the thing. Because I've never ever in my life.
Yeah, I don't think either of us have. I think we're always right. I mean, we were spot on about the World Cup stuff, weren't we? Everything we said came true.
No, but
Uh,
genuinely, like Havertz is not a centre midfielder.
no, it's a very strange signing. But yeah, well, maybe he knows something we don't. He just seems a bit lightweight and weak to play there. And the same with Odegaard. I mean, he goes missing when it's a tough battle, and when the game's hard. Rather than dragging them by the scruff of the neck, he just goes into hiding. He's great when they're on top and they're doing well. He's just one of those players, and Havertz the same, where they're only a player for a team that's on top, rather than the minute a team's not on top, they go missing. So yeah, it's a very strange one. Next one, what else? Liverpool are loaned out a couple of youngsters. I'm very surprised at the first one. Reece Williams gone to Aberdeen on loan. I can only think it's with a view to getting him sold there, because he's really nowhere near good enough. I mean, he did great for us for a few weeks when we were short of when every defender was injured. But other than that, I mean, he wasn't even then he was struggling. But
Yeah,
he's
I was
clearly
just
not a
gonna
Premier
ask
League player.
when did he do well?
Well, the
He
team did well, I
played.
should say, shouldn't they?
He played. He played.
He
He
was
made a
not
few
good.
appearances. That's
Yeah,
the thing.
but he was clearly not good enough for the Premier League, sadly. Yeah. Anyway, who else? Oh yeah, Fabio Carvalho went out to Leipzig on loan, so good replacement signed there for Szoboszlai for them, who they of course then sold to Liverpool for about 65 million. I'm really.
What happened with Carvalho, man? He made a few bright cameo appearances and then just
I don't know. Klopp does this. I mean, he did the same with Minamino. He'd come in, he'd score goals, and then he wouldn't get another chance. And you're thinking, the lad, what could he do? What more could he do? Even if he's not exactly doing what you want. I mean, that's Jota gets chance after chance when he does the same thing. He's terrible at everything, but adds goals. But Minamino is decent and scores goals, and he gets dropped. Carvalho comes in, scores a goal, gets dropped straight out. You know, you never see him again. It's bizarre. Klopp has these players he just doesn't fancy, and then they just, you know, he doesn't seem to want to give them a chance. Whereas others he does fancy, like Keita, he'll continually keep trying them over and over again, even when they fail him. I do not understand it at all. You know, Carvalho for me is just Minamino. You know, the same issue as Minamino, where he's just doesn't, Klopp just hasn't fancied him when he's seen him, and I don't know why, because he's always impressed when he's played, and I think he deserved a shot, to be honest. But I think at the moment, to be fair, I can't see where he'd play. But like last season, I was meaning, I think he deserved more chances than he got. Anyway, should we move on? Yeah, oh, sorry. Chelsea have signed a forward in the shape of Nicholas Jackson from Villarreal for about 35 million-ish. Looks a bit of a Drogba type, isn't he, from what I've heard?
The only knowledge I have about him is he almost showing was it Bournemouth?
No, Brighton, wasn't it? Wasn't it Brighton?
Whichever one it was, he nearly joined another team in January. I'm not sure he's what Chelsea needs. He's a young diamond in the rough kind of a player.
To be honest, though, they just needed forwards, though, didn't they? So maybe, you know, maybe they've just got to take a chance on someone like him.
They're buying too many youngsters for my liking, and not enough first team regulars right now.
Yeah, they needed it. They need to build a first team, and they haven't done that at all.
Yeah, they're buying players for 2025 and 2027 instead of for 2024.
And it's been a problem for a long time now, and that's why they've not been the force they were, in my opinion. Speaking of which, they managed to get a fee for Ruben Loftus-Cheek, which is astonishing, especially to AC Milan, who are in financial difficulties, yet still managed to spunk over 10 million on Ruben Loftus-Cheek, who's, well, he just can't stay fit or perform well when on a consistent basis, because he can't stay fit. It's really odd signing, that one.
Maybe he can regain some form and fitness.
It's more gentle style of play out there, so maybe he'll be able to cope without getting all the injuries there. But it's a lot of money to spend when you're in financial difficulties on a player that's injury prone. Seems a very strange one, and you know he's got a back problem that he's had long term, because those don't go away very often. I think it's a bit of a strange move. What else? Chelsea also brought in Diego Moreira, who I mentioned earlier, from Benfica on a free. He's only 18. He's the 18-year-old, isn't he? That I was thinking earlier. Well, Leicester have spent some of the Maddison money on Conor Cody and Harry Winks from Wolves and Spurs, respectively. I think that's about Winks' level.
On top of this, Conor Cody, I just want to ask, like, Everton had a option to buy somewhere around 3-4 million.
4.5 it was.
Could they have not signed him and then sold
him to Leicester? Yeah, I know. That's what I don't understand. But then, you know, this is Everton,
and maybe even for $1 million less. Let's say they sign him for 4.5 and sold him for 6. And still more than $1 million. Right?
Yeah, well, this is Everton. By the way, you're gone a bit quiet. Yeah, not so clear.
Is it better now?
Yeah, that's better. You're clear now as well. You're a bit unclear as well. You were crackly. Yeah, well, it's Everton. They did their business. If they were a good, well-run business, they wouldn't have been in the trouble they've been in the last couple of seasons, would they? So, Yeah, it certainly doesn't make sense. But you do wonder about Wolves as well. Are they like clearing house or what? Because they seem to be selling a lot of players without actually bringing in much. And the other, through the other door, like it doesn't seem to. In fact, have they even signed anyone yet?
I don't think so. I don't think they've brought anyone in. Maybe they just want. I know they had some issues with financial fair play, so maybe they just want to get in the money before
Hmm. Yeah.
spending out.
Yeah. Uh, get the get clear of the FFP, put it on next year. Then when you set it in on this year, on the previous year, and then the outs from next year, maybe. The outgoings. I mean, certainly, going to be a busy. They're going to have to get spending, I would think. The Harry.
Maybe they can dive into the free agent market and look at David De Gea.
Hmm. Yeah, because he's left Man United as a free agent as things stand.
19 million saved in wages. That's all I'm gonna say.
It's, yeah, and he's not suited to the way they play, so I think it's a good
That
decision
is
to let
what,
him go.
yeah, that is what puts things into perspective. 19 million wages a year, or
Yeah,
somewhere around that region.
yeah. Didn't see any. I don't see any issue with them letting him go. He wasn't suited to the way they play. He was on far too much money. I think it makes sense
We
to
can,
let him
like
go.
listen, Rich, we can sign a goalkeeper for half that wages. That goalkeeper would still be earning more than Allison,
Hmm.
and we would still be saving around 9 million a year
Yeah,
on
exactly.
wages.
It makes sense all round. He was overpaid and he wasn't, and when you're unsuited to the way the team play, yeah, I think it was the only possible call that could be made is to let him go. And if he signs a new deal, it has to be on much reduced terms.
I freaking love him. I absolutely adore him. I respect the hell out of him. But he doesn't make any financial sense to us anymore.
And he doesn't make any football sense either because of the way you play. That's the thing. You can't even make a case of saying, well, sod the finances. He's perfect for what we need. You can't even make that case, can you? To one time, he was the best goalkeeper in the world. I mean, it's a massive fall from grace. It must be said.
I think something happened inside him when he fluffed his lines in the 2018 World Cup. I think not being able to go back to Spain, to Real Madrid or Barca or Atleti or whoever it
Mm,
was, and then also realizing that he's no longer gonna be playing for Spain regularly. I think maybe that took away that edge that he had. Maybe that just I'm just speculating, but maybe that just took away his motivation.
yeah, that's a
That
fair
that
point.
little bit, I think it's just 1%, but as we say, like when you're at the highest level of professional football, that 1% can be the difference between great and average.
Mm, yeah, very much so. That's the big thing, isn't it? Yeah, it is a shame though to see a player that once you'd look at and you think it was incredible some of the saves he'd make. It wouldn't matter what part of his body he was using. He'd just get it a part of his body in the way. That was all it was he was doing. And okay, he wasn't good with crosses. He wasn't someone who's going to come out and clear the box or anything like that. He's not going to sweep up behind the. But when it came to shot stopping, he was a different level to most keepers of ever. But yeah, sadly it is gone. Definitely, he's not the same keeper at all, is he?
I'm just a bit sad that if this is the end of the road for him, that we didn't know it when he played his last game for us. It would have
Yeah.
been. I'm pretty sure he would have gotten an amazing reception at the last game if it was already clear that he was leaving us. But but it's quite a journey, man. He came in, was absolutely ridiculed,
Very true.
and the last notable action he does for us is hold up the Golden Globe.
Yeah. It is a
It's
shame he
quite
didn't get a
poetic.
goodbye appearance as
Yeah,
well.
it will forever sting me because, like I said, I absolutely adore the guy. Like I respect him so much.
Well, for long periods, he was the difference between you being like
No,
bottom
we would
half.
have been Chelsea. I will be
Yeah.
honest. We would have been Chelsea of this season if it wasn't for him. For many seasons, the saves he made, the points he saved us, the points he won us. For about half a decade, he was the difference between us losing a game 3-0 and actually winning a game 3-1.
Mm. Yeah, very much so. He was.
I remember a game against Liverpool when we won 3-0
Oh, don't
and the
let's
man of
mention
the
that.
match was David De Gea.
Uh,
Do you remember it? The
I'm not
Balotelli,
talking about. I'm not
Sterling.
gonna say this. We
You
don't
don't
need to
want
talk about that. We don't need to talk about that period. Fucking Balotelli and oh.
no, but genuinely, when is the last time you heard a keeper getting man of the match in a 3-0 victory?
Ah, rarely happens. Rarely happens a keeper gets man of the match. To be honest, you know,
But
let
but
alone
it, yeah,
get
let
it
alone a 3-0 victory.
in a victory. Yeah, it's astonishing, really. I can you even try and think of when the last time a goalkeeper got a man of the match. I mean, it's so rare. It happens, full stop. It's but in a victory, yeah, any kind of victory as well. It's even less so. It tends to go to one of the
It's,
forwards who
yeah,
scored the goals. So that shows
it's such
how
it's such
it's
sad.
played. Yeah,
It's sad to see like he was he was so good for him, but now he just gets so much disrespect thrown at him, and
yeah. A couple of mistakes and everyone's on his case, and it's like I think he's earned the right to get away with a couple of mistakes. To be fair, hasn't he? For what he's done, he's still going to get.
and and it's rest assured whoever replaces him is gonna make
Oh,
mistakes as well.
yeah, and I guess
It
it's
doesn't matter who it is. The modern keeper is just made. The modern system is made for keepers to make mistakes.
mm, there's a lot more pressure on them, a lot more work for them to do, a lot more chances for them to mess up.
Yeah, a lot more risk is being
Mm.
taken, and it's gonna result in mistakes.
Who do you think it will be?
I have a feeling it may end up being Andre Onana, but I am not gonna completely lose sight of David Raya.
Yeah, well, they've already replaced him, haven't they? All right, they've
Yeah,
been.
Mark Flecken.
Hmm?
Mark Flecken is. They've already signed him.
Yeah, I'm
Brentford.
Verbruggen, Brighton.
Verbruggen signed for Brighton.
Oh shit! Yeah, who am I talking about?
You're thinking about Robert Sanchez.
Shit, yeah, I am. So why was I thinking? Where did I get that from? Oh my god! Sorry, that's. Don't know what.
And even before you or anyone else, any of the
Jesus.
poster asks, no, we shouldn't sign David, no, Robert Sanchez because he's fucking third choice for Brighton now.
Yeah, he's not. He's not the. He's not
You
good
don't
at Man United. He's not good enough.
you don't go from third choice at Brighton to being the number one goalkeeper for Man United.
Well, even if you do, like that's when you're a kid and you stand out as a special talent and you've been fast tracked into the third, into the choice in the team, maybe, but like, yeah, no, Sanchez isn't good enough anyway. He wasn't very good for them. He was only in the team because he was good with his feet. Yeah, no, no, you've got to look elsewhere. I think Raya's a good shout, though. Not sure he's.
My thinking is I'm no expert on Andre Onana. I think
Hmm,
none of us can claim to know him better than Eric Ten Hag because they work
good point.
for much. Yeah, they work together for much longer, so they should have better idea of each other and what they expect from each other in the system and everything. But if you're gonna spend somewhere around 40 million on a goalkeeper, then wouldn't you want someone? And if you had the choice of someone who's never played in Premier League as compared to someone who is homegrown, that seems to be forgotten about David Raya
Hmm, good point. Yeah, that's a very good point.
and has Premier League experience
Yeah,
and is a similar age as well
yeah. Oh, I just
and is probably gonna be on lesser wages.
in my opinion, he's a better keeper as well. I do not get the hype with Vanana. As I told you, I said I watch him and he just smacks the ball straight back out into trouble. He's going to cost goals in a better league. It's okay when you're
I understand
in
the hype.
Holland and you're in Italy. You're playing for the top team. The other teams aren't throwing bodies into the box to attack you. When you're playing for Man United in the Premier League, teams are going to be throwing bodies in the back box to attack you when you've got the ball, when they've got a chance to load the ball in there. And if he's pushing it out and he's just pushing it straight out into trouble, which he does all the time, he just push. I mean, it isn't like it is his way. He just literally just pushes it straight back out. It's going to it lead to so many goals conceded, whoever he ends up with.
I know why he
Uh,
gets a lot of hype because have you seen him with the ball at his feet? He is erratic. He loses his head and everything, but he gets into highlight worthy positions with the ball.
which one you want about there, Raya or
Onana.
Anana?
Onana.
Yeah. Yeah, sorry, just checking. I wasn't sure.
He tends to just sprint out of the box, and I actually don't think he has much like. I don't think he takes calculated risk. He's like me playing in goal. Just gets attracted to the ball and he makes idiotic attempts at getting to the ball, and he makes ridiculously risky maneuvers with the ball. But if they come across and if they pay off, then they look so brilliant in highlights, and that is why he gets a lot of hype.
Hmm.
I don't know whether I don't know whether those erratic runs towards the ball and trying to sweep off have cost him enough times, but I don't like the way he does the sweeping of things. Having said that, like I said, if Eric Ten Hag wants him, then surely he knows more about him than uh, fat guy in Kathmandu. So
I don't know, either
I
of
don't
us.
know.
I mean, yeah, if he thinks he's good enough, then you'd have to say, well, he's seen enough of him to know. Yeah. I mean, apart from the fact he's a bit of a Lance Armstrong, though, is the worry, obviously. Just say, save the
Well,
drone ban.
football doesn't have anti-doping
Well, at least had the
regulation.
ban for doping. So, yeah, it certainly doesn't have that bigger one, because otherwise you wouldn't be back playing so quickly. But yeah, I wouldn't touch Onana myself. I don't think he's good enough, but I can see that it's Raya. I think is would be a good choice for you. Not the
He
greatest, but
like I pointed out, there isn't much there isn't much more going for Onana. If he was available for let's say 20-25 million and Raya was being quoted at 40, then you're gonna say like at least this guy is cheaper.
yeah, gives you
But
more
if
to
if
spend
if
elsewhere.
all things yeah, if all things are becoming equal, then why not go for someone who speaks the language, is proven in the league, and I'm pretty sure he's homegrown.
I believe you're correct on that. I believe he will count as homegrown. Yeah, pretty sure he's been there long enough to do that.
Yeah, he came through at what's that name? Venky Chicken,
Yeah, Blackburn.
Blackburn. Yeah,
Yeah,
Blackburn.
yeah, that's what I mean. I'm pretty sure he's been in England long enough to, at a young enough age, between 16 and 21. I'm pretty sure you're right on that. But yeah. Anyway, should we move on? We've mentioned Dominic Szoboszlai to Liverpool from RBL. It's quite I see that. Maybe that's why Carvalho's gone there to replace him. So a good
Yeah,
signing.
I gather you're a fan of the move.
Yeah. Oh, I mean that guy. God, he could spank the ball, can't he?
That much he can. That much he can.
Oh,
I give you that.
and it's what
I've said
Liverpool
it
have
many
needed.
times. I've said it many times. I think he's the best at striking a ball from
Mm.
distance.
Oh, it's incredible. And I think Liverpool needed that because teams were sitting in deep. They can't do that when you've got Szoboszlai bearing down on you. If he gets around the edge of the box, you're in trouble. You've got to come out to him, and that creates space inside, which is and the way Liverpool have been playing with Alexander Arnold as a fullback that cuts inside. You know the hybrid system they've been playing. Henderson's been the one that's been going out wide to allow Salah to come inside. Szoboszlai will suit that role to a T, to the Henderson role, cutting outside, and he can also play the Salah role when Salah needs a rest. So I think it's just what you need, what Liverpool needed really to bit of utility. You know, he can play a couple of positions, and I think he's something that's. If we were a team that was, that like you're not going to get a lot of the ball, and you had those players, you didn't play the way we play, where we're looking to attack other teams. Then I can understand because you were saying you don't think we needed him, but like for a team like Liverpool, where teams just sit in deep and make it very difficult to break them down. I think it's what you need. Play it strike the ball from the edge of the box is exactly what you need.
Oh, look at. Okay, I'll say a few. I'll share my opinion on the whole thing. I am a fan of Soboslai.
Hmm.
That was the case 3 weeks ago, and it's not going to change just because he signed for Liverpool. I think he's an amazing prospect still. He's he's had few spells out with injury, which has
Yeah.
halted his development, but overall he's a brilliant package. My concern with the move for him is whenever I've watched him play, he's played mostly as a uh, left-sided forward or a right-sided forward in
Hmm.
a two behind the striker, be it Paulson, Werner, Nkunku, whoever plays there, Andre Silva or whoever. And at Liverpool, I don't see him getting too many chances from the left-hand side, and I don't see him getting too many chances from the right-hand side, which is not his ideal position anyways. My worry for Liverpool is if you have a Fabinho, McAllister, and Szoboszlai midfield, that's not gonna win you games against the likes of Arsenal, the likes of City, even the likes of Man United. And even when you play Brighton, I don't think this midfield is robust enough and defensive enough to win you those games. I again think like this is another situation where a team has seen Manchester City win leagues with Rodri and then De Bruyne and Bernardo Silva or Foden or someone playing in midfield and thinking like, oh, we can get it done. But I don't
Whereas
think
what I
I'm
think,
not doubting the quality of the player. My
no,
issue is do you spend 60 plus million on someone who doesn't ensure that he gets into the team and wins you matches against the
But I
biggest
think he
teams.
does. Like I said, apart from the fact that he will draw out defences because they can't afford to leave him on the edge of the box with the ball at his feet. You've also got to remember that Liverpool, well, this is, I mean, this is what Klopp's intimated anyway, and as suggested, his plan is this season is to go back to more of a pressing system that he's moved away from a bit. You know, they're doing a more intense pre-season to go for, and Szoboszlai is a very good presser of the ball. That's another
No, he's
thing.
a very good player.
Yeah,
That's not
I
the
think he's
issue.
you know, when you the way Liverpool play under Klopp at their best, they're on the front foot, they're pushing teams back, and they're attacking them, and they're pressing them in, and I think he's very good for that. I don't think in the modern game, you know, that's the way to break teams down rather than having a pure out and out destroyer in midfield. Instead, we got, you know, it looks like it's going to be the Fabinho and Trent Alexander-Arnold who drift inside there each time. I'm not keen on that system at all, as you know, but I think that's that's the way Klopp's looking to go, and that's why Szoboszlai will fit. If he was reverting back to the old 4-3-3, then there would be worries that he's not defensive. You know, he's not willing to trap back enough. He's not defensive minded enough. And you're correct. I do think it would be a worry. But with the extra, with the you move him in. You're moving in Trent Alexander-Arnold into the centre of midfield behind them to cover, making recovery runs and stuff. You know what I mean? He's preventing the breaks, etc. I think having him in there pressing is a way of defending from the front, basically. So I'm really happy with it, and I think you're right what you said. He does have that swagger about him. I do think so as well. I agree with you. Captain of his national team as well, isn't he?
Yeah, I think so. No, is it Orban or Szoboszlai? It's
I'm pretty
one of the
sure he
two.
was the last time I
I
saw
think
them.
I
I'm
think
sure he
he's
was
part
wearing
of
the
the. I think
armband.
yeah. I
Uh,
think he's part of the leadership group, even if he's not the captain.
yeah.
So Willy Orban is Hungarian. I think he might be captain. I don't know. I don't think it matters as much because it seems like he also brings leadership qualities.
Hmm. Yeah, that's what I mean. That's something
I
Liverpool
think I
needed
think
with
I think
Milner
he's gonna.
going.
I think I think if he has the defensive work rate and attitude that De Bruyne has, then he can be just as
Hmm.
vital for you guys.
Yeah. Similar price as well. Did we notice how
In
different it seemed when they were paying him for?
5 or 10 million more. But it also
5 million.
proves like how much football has moved up in economy. Right now, 70 odd million euros seems like a run of the mill fee for a very exciting young attacking midfielder. And when De Bruyne was signing, it was money spent down the drain for a Chelsea flop.
Yeah, everyone was a bit shocked that they spent so much on a Chelsea flop, and yeah, wow,
Yeah, and in like what
yes,
5, 10 years,
he's
it's like
been with the money, honey.
nobody is like. But this transfer, the move for Mason Mount, which we're inevitably gonna mention, this has made me aware that transfer fees do actually impact on at least my opinion of the move and the player.
Oh, and to make
Because
you,
because if Soboslai had signed for 35 million euros, half the price, then I wouldn't have half as many concerns about the move as I do right now.
but the odd thing is, if he had signed for half the price, Liverpool fans would have been whining about it because he was cheap. You know, like they were McAllister. That seems to be the issue. If Liverpool sign a player and they don't pay a lot for him, there's a group of fans that moan that they're not paying enough for him. If they pay a big fee, they moan that they're paying too much. I mean, there's just sometimes just fans just you can't please them really, can you? Football fans, they're mad. Anyway, should we move on because I think we've talked enough about Szoboszlai, considering we didn't really intend to talk much about him. Wilfried Zaha's left Crystal Palace to be a free agent. Where do you think he'll end up?
Saudi Arabia? Why not?
Do you think what Saudi Arabian team would want him though? He's not really a top talent, is he?
Maybe Steven Gerrard can take a look at him.
Yeah, possibly. I just can't see why he'd want him. Why anyone would want him. He's not good enough, in my opinion. Not a great player at all by any means. But you know.
Oh, we failed to mention, but Roy Hodgson is gonna continue for 1 year more
Oh, did we
at
not
Crystal
mention
Palace.
that? Yeah. Shit. Yeah. I must have missed that on the notes when I was typing them up. Sorry. Yeah, that's a. I think that's. Do you know what? It's just bizarre why they got rid of him in the first place when he was doing so well. But
Since you already got rid of him, I don't think it's the right move to now again stick with him for 1 more year.
that's what I was thinking and trying to say. That was what the but was.
And now this also reminds me that Patrick Vieira is the new manager for RC Strasbourg.
Was he? Is he actually taking the job now? I know
I
he
think
was
it's
on the
been
list,
confirmed.
but he was
I
expected
think it's
to.
been confirmed. Yeah, I think it's been
It
confirmed.
wasn't the last time I looked. Oh, I've been keep waiting for it, but I must have missed it.
And for anyone interested, it's the team that is co-owned by Todd Bowley and company.
Yeah, exactly.
So
Yeah.
there's your manager for the second half of this season for
Chelsea
Chelsea.
season, yeah, could be. That'll be interesting. So we mentioned Bert Verbruggen signing to Brighton from Anderlecht. Yeah, Sandro Tonali, or is it Tonali or Tonali?
Yeah, Tonali.
Tonali is signed for Newcastle from AC Milan for around the same price as Szoboszlai. So,
Yeah, but there's a difference. Szoboszlai is a release clause. Tonali is a add-ons included, so it's a lesser initial fee.
it's not just that. It's like it's a totally different level of signing as well. I mean, Tonali, an Italian international, moving out of Italy in his prime. That's really unusual.
Leaving Milan when he was seemingly in line for being their club captain in the future.
Yeah. And to join Newcastle, who were, not really the biggest club on the world stage, are they? In European terms, they've got no track record really of, other than the Keegan era, they've got no real track record. But I think they've won the Fairs Cup, didn't they, once in like the 60s? I think that's it. So, yeah,
I am pretty sure
statement.
Sandro Tonali. I'm pretty sure Sandro Tonali wasn't born in the Keegan era.
I wouldn't have thought so. No, I wouldn't have thought so. He certainly wouldn't have been old enough to remember it. So yeah,
No,
that's,
I would love it.
yeah.
I would love it if we beat them. That was 1995.
Wow, was it so long ago? Wow.
I think
Time
that was
time
somewhere
flies.
around 95, give or take 1 or 2 years. Sandro Tonali is playing under 21 euros right now.
Yeah, bloody hell. Oh
It
God.
it
You're
makes
making me
me
feel
it
old.
makes me feel old,
You
let
know,
alone you, Trish.
stop doing that, will you? I told you I'm not old. I'm only 21 till the end of the month, and then I'm 22 this year. I've decided I'm going to be 22 next.
Do you wanna do you want to disclose how your is 21 now?
No.
Are are you Are you sure it's safe enough for you to actually share this information?
No, it's
Because
definitely
remember,
not. it's, it's definitely not because somebody's looking at me and saying something. So no,
are you safe
I'm not
in
safe. No.
saying that sharing that information when it implies? Okay, let's not go any further.
No,
I
that would
think I
get me
should
into a
stop
lot of
for once.
trouble. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so we move on. Yeah, I think that's a great statement signing from Newcastle, but it does heap more pressure on Howe on top of the Champions League run and that. But again, well, you've got to do it, haven't you? When you're in the position they're in, they needed to sign someone for that position. Their midfield was crap. Let's be honest. They needed somebody in there. So
Does he take the place of in the system? Okay, I'm not asking who does he replace him. Does he take the place of Son Longstaff as the deep lying player or Bruno Guimaraes as the box to box player?
or who's the other one? It's Joe Linton's the other one, isn't it?
Jolinton. Jolinton, he doesn't
Hmm.
factor in because if you play Longstaff, Guimaraes and Tonali, then that becomes a bit. I think
I
for me it becomes a bit too defensive.
Yeah, I think you're more likely to see Guimaraes drop back and him play that role, and Longstaff sit on the bench. Out of for me,
Yeah, that was my question.
that would
Because
be the way I would do it.
if Newcastle are bringing Tonali in thinking he's gonna be the defensive midfielder,
Yeah,
then I've got two words for that: Ismail Benacer. He is the defensive midfielder for AC Milan, not Tonali.
right, got you. Sorry. Yeah, yeah, I was going to say I don't think they're signing him. That's why I was a bit confused. Got you. Yeah, no, he's definitely not a
No,
defensive midfielder.
I just hope that he doesn't end up becoming yet another Italian player who gets misprofiled.
Yeah, no, I would have thought.
I know a lot of Italians don't succeed in Premier League, but for me, a lot of them get misprofiled, and then
Hmm.
if you buy lemon and then try to sell it off as orange, it
Yeah,
doesn't
try and
even
use it to
taste
sweeten
good.
your food. Yeah, it's
Yeah,
not going to work. Yeah. What was I going to say? Yeah, the guy they've got overseeing their recruitment now. Um, they got from
and Ashworth.
yeah Dan Ashworth. That's him. Well done. God, his name had totally gone then. Yeah, I was trying to get back. Saying that, I was going back to where I lived for the year previously before I came here. You know, before I moved into this part. While I was waiting for the apartment to be ready, I spent a year in another place down the road, and I went to go there visit this week. I couldn't remember the name of the road. Literally, I stood there, taxis I waited to got in the taxi and went to ask him for the road. I had to look it up on Google Maps in the end because I couldn't
Yeah,
remember
that
what
is
it
what.
was called.
Yeah, that
Jesus.
is what young people do. Look things up in Google
Exactly.
Maps.
Yeah, exactly. Because it's not old people
Old
that do
person
that.
like me. Yeah,
No,
old people like me just
old
rely
people
on the memory.
yeah, exactly. Old people have memory. Young people use their phones. See, they rely on technology. That's the problem we have. You know, as youngsters, we're so reliant on technology, we forget how to use our brains. That's the problem. Yeah. Anyway, what are we talking about? Shit.
Dan Ashworth.
Oh yeah. I was
The
saying,
last
if
point was
anybody, I would have expected he tends to do, a very deep dive into the players before they sign them, and they look at firmly at their attributes and that and the way they played, and they tend to sign them to suit. They even have positional scouts looking at like midfielders will be looked at specifically by a midfield scout, rather than just having an area that they look at and they just look for any particularly good players. They'll say we need the midfielders. These your midfield scouts, your job is just to find the right midfielders. So I would think they'll know exactly how he plays, and I can't see him playing as no, I don't see him as a deep lying midfielder at all. I think
He is
Guimaraes will be
not
that.
one. But the issue with Tonali is when he was coming through, he was branded as the new Pirlo because he had long hair and he's a midfielder. And
Yeah,
that is most of the similarities ain't quite there.
he's one of
And they're
lads.
both great technically. Technically, they're very good players both.
But when Pirlo emerged as a youngster, people seem to have forgotten the fact that he was more of almost a striker. He was playing off a striker, right up near the top. You know, he's playing almost a Roberto Firmino role, but behind. In those days, obviously, most teams played two strikers up top. You know what I mean? But he was playing, virtually a
Paul
second
Scholes,
striker role.
like Paul Scholes.
Yes, very similar. Yeah. He wasn't a defensive midfielder. He'd never been a defensive midfielder. He just
He
couldn't
never
keep
was.
it.
That was what I was gonna say.
Yeah,
He was a deep lying playmaker in the
yeah,
modern terms.
yeah. Not for me. Yeah. Anyways,
He's a lovely passer of the ball. Come on.
oh, Sexton passed the ball, but he was just too lazy. I can't be doing with lazy players. There's no excuse for laziness in my. That's the one thing a player should have to do is work hard. Anyway, should we move on quick? I'm going to need to change the battery in my headphones. Hang on 2 seconds. So you're going to have to talk for a bit. Do you
Okay.
want to take the
Next
next
up,
one?
next up, it's a couple of deal involving Villarreal. Ben Brereton Diaz, Chilean striker. His move from Blackburn to Villarreal on a free has finally been confirmed. It was one of the worst kept secrets in football. Now it's going to be very interesting to see how he fares in the Spanish league because he has no any real top level
I don't think
experience
I
yet.
don't think he's played in the top flight, has he?
Yeah, no top flight experience yet, so it's gonna be interesting to see how he gets on.
Yeah, and just because he's changed his name doesn't make him, as in the Diaz. Because he was Ben Brereton at Forest, wasn't he? As a youngster. Now he's added the Diaz because he's playing for Chile.
No, he found a Diaz in his name that made him eligible to play for Chile.
Yeah.
How much of him have you seen? Firstly, and secondly, yeah, he is Diaz, but how much of a culture shock is he gonna experience from Blackburn to Villarreal?
I've seen a fair bit of him over the years, but it's like literally over a course of years. Like I said, I remember him at Forest when he was coming through as a kid, and he suddenly just when he got the chance to play for Chile, it was like he stepped up a huge level. He wasn't anything like as good before. It's like it really gave him that extra motivation. He's become a much better player. He didn't look like an international class player by any means. You know what I mean? He looked nowhere near good enough to play for Chile before getting called up and playing for them. But I'm still not convinced he's quite. He's one of those where you'd think he reminds me. He's one of those like quite a few where they're championship players, but they're a bit too. They're good enough play for the bottom half team, but you wouldn't want to rely on them to score you the goals you need. In the top flight. I'm not so sure he's going to impress them. I don't think he'll be bad at Villarreal, but I don't think he'll be great either. He's a very. Yeah, I think he's punching above his weight a bit, is what I'm trying to say. It's not really top class at all. I think it's a bit of a risk. But I suppose on a free you can take those risks. And he's got everything to play for as well, hasn't he? With his. This is his chance, isn't it? Yeah, I don't see it working out for him. And what else? Timo Pukki's gone from Norwich to Minnesota, so he's off to the MLS on a free. Nathan Collins. Now that one's just. We're saying Wolves. They just seem to be selling everyone. I mean, he's gone off to Brentford. I don't get that move. He's been excellent for. He's always excels for Ireland. But for Wolves, he looks a different player. He just doesn't look a good player for them. He looks error prone and nervous, and that is really odd. But Brentford obviously sees something in him, and yeah, I'm very surprised at Wolves selling him. He's young, plenty of scope for improvement. But yeah, I mean, the Wolves thing, they just seem to be selling everyone for some reason. Anyway, so who else is there? Mason Mount, we did touch on him.
Pau Torres to Aston Villa.
Has that happened now?
From Villarreal.
Is that done?
It's just waiting for him to get back from honeymoon.
Yeah, that's why I hadn't put it in, because I'm waiting till they're confirmed for this. Because we got so many, I was leaving the unconfirmed ones until they're actually confirmed. What was I say? Yeah, Mason Mount, Chelsea, Man United. We've touched on that though, haven't we? So I don't know if you've got anything else you want to say on it.
Yeah, I am yet to be won over by him, because I don't think 60 million on a player who's not necessarily gonna play in his strongest ideal position is the way for us to be operating in the market right now. I've said it before as well. I don't see how he gets into the team unless it's as an Eriksen replacement.
What about wide up front? Because he played that. He was very successful for Chelsea as a wide forward.
But if we want to play him on the right side, then wouldn't we be better off giving Ahmad a chance after his promised loan?
And I remember he was better.
And obviously, we like it or not, obviously there's also Anthony as well from the right. Now we get to left, then we have our best player from last season who plays from the left, and our best young player from last season who also plays on the left.
Yeah.
Why would you spend 60 million on Mason Mount to maybe play him from the left and hinder the development path for one Alejandro Garnacho?
Yeah, no, I see your point. No, I just
my issue isn't with the player. My issue is with the financial outlay when I think there are more pressing need. If at the end of the window we end up signing a goalkeeper or two, we end up signing a first choice striker, we maybe even end up signing a centre back, and we also have Mason Mount, then I'm okay.
The only thing I can see that it makes sense for is if you're using him as a replacement for Eriksen and allowing Bruno Fernandes to drop back rather than him dropping back into midfield, and he plays the further forward role that Fernandes played.
Yeah, but that takes some. It takes a lot of attributes out of Bruno's game.
Did you not think he was good when he played deeper? Every time I saw him, he was
good.
He always looked much better.
He was good. No, he was good, but the thing is, it takes his goal scoring almost out of him.
True.
He's a very decent finisher.
True. Yeah, that's a good point. But Mason Mount's a good finisher as well, so swings and roundabouts possibly. Yeah, I don't know. It's. I can see your point though.
No, my point is, if we're gonna spend 50+ million, then I would rather spend it on someone who replaces Eriksen directly.
Anyway, your first thought you should be where you should be signing exactly what you need first, and then buying players like Mount, really, to fill in after when you've got when you've got the 11 sorted. Then he's the kind of player you need, but you haven't really got the 11 yet, have you? Together, so
Yeah, and like you said, maybe he can play from the left. I would say like spend that 60 million on a striker and play Rashford from the left like he
mm,
ideally does.
yeah, Rashford's at his best on the left, so yeah, that's what I was forgetting Rashford plays there, so I was completely forgetting. I was
Yeah,
thinking of
he
him as a
doesn't.
forward, as a centre forward.
He's strong. Like maybe Ten Hag can mold him into a better number eight, or maybe like you said, Bruno becomes more of a deeper lying player, and maybe he improves on some of his aspects in that side of the game, and we become a better team. But you would ideally want to not move too many pieces around to fit
Mm,
someone you bring from outside. You bring someone from outside to fit the hole that already is there.
yeah, yeah, I agree with you. No, I fully agree with what you're saying. Yeah.
For example, we have Rashford who can play through the middle. Sometimes he even looks better through the middle, but we're not looking at bringing in left wingers right now, are we?
No, yeah, it doesn't make sense to do that unless Mason
Yeah,
Mount's brought,
that's my
unless
yeah
that's
that's
what
my
Mason Mount's
that's
been
my
signed
concern
for.
with the Mount deal. And also, we kind of sort of looked stupid. In my eyes, at least, we looked a bit stupid with the deal. We started with 40 and ended up giving them pretty much what they wanted.
Mm, yeah, it seemed an odd. I mean, but like if he plays as well as he played those 2 seasons where he was their player of the season, you'll be happy you got him. So, if you can get him back to his best.
I again have the same concern like I had with Liverpool. A Casemiro, Bruno, and Mount midfield three is not gonna win the match against Man City. It's not gonna win us our match against Bayern Munich if we get them in the Champions League. It's not gonna win us against Liverpool.
Yeah, maybe. Depends on how obviously Ten Hag sets him up and that. But you did need bodies in there though, so because you struggled at the end of the season with fatigue and injuries, so it did make sense to sign someone. Just whether he's the right someone and the right price. Could be worse. You got to sign that Kovacic, which would have been bizarre. We'll have to sign him from Chelsea or Kai Havertz. Neither of them made sense.
We could have signed McAllister for 50 million.
Mm.
Save 10 million.
Yeah, that would have made far more sense. But
Now that's the thing. Like when I look at McAllister, it makes the move look idiotic.
it's the same with City. I mean, why
And
sign
and and
Kovacic?
and then and then like I said before, and then I look at James Madison, and I compare those two deals, and then
Yeah,
this
suddenly it
move
feels
moves.
better. Yeah.
This moves feels much more palatable and much more modest.
Mm. Yeah, true. It is one of those where it just comes down to where he intends to play him.
Time will
That's
tell. This
yeah,
is the type of move when I say like only time will tell.
yeah. It could turn into an absolute disaster. Or it could turn into a masterstroke. One of those, or anywhere in between for that matter. But yeah, he's certainly got pressure to perform, and he's coped with it in the past. So could be could be a great signing. Who else is there? Arcadius Milik still going. Back to you. back to Italian football with Juve for 6 million from Marseille. Evan and Dika, who Liverpool were interested in, has gone to Roma from Frankfurt on a free. Then that's a good signing for them. You were saying about them for the Serie A title.
Oh, they
Dika's
made a few. They made a.
a good
They've
move.
already made a few good moves in the market.
Mm. Josselu's gone from Espanyol to Real Madrid on loan. He's a striker, so is that the replacement for Benzema? Keep him for a season while they wait for Haaland, the contract clause to mature and Mbappe to be a free agent, maybe? I don't know.
And maybe Harry Kane is a free agent on the
Yeah.
market
Oh my God.
in a
Yeah.
year's time.
Sign all three of
No,
them. Why
like,
not?
but I know it's just not right to do this, but I cannot help but do this.
Yeah, we'd certainly be foolish
Karim
to do it.
Benzema, Karim Benzema, Ballon d'Or winner, a
Mm.
douchebag, but one of the modern greats. You replace him with someone who wasn't good enough for Newcastle or Stoke.
It's just astonishing when you realise who Joselu is and why I put that as one of the
Oh, he's a
signings.
lovely guy from everything I know about him. He seems like a very lovely, nice guy, a lovable character.
But a
Uh, But
shit footballer.
but no way is he even worthy of being a backup player at Real Madrid.
Nah.
And as far as things go right now, he is the only real first team striker at Real Madrid.
And he doesn't score. It's not even like you say, yeah, but he does have a habit of popping up with important goals. He rarely scores. He's not a goal scorer by any stretch of the imagination, is he? It's a hard one, that one. Really bizarre. It's clearly just a desperation fill-in move, isn't it? While they look for someone. But yeah. Right. What else? Daley Blind's free agent after leaving Bayern Munich. He's only just gone there as
Weird,
well.
weird 6 months for him.
Yeah, he went there and he never really got into the side even, did he? Which was pretty much obvious anyway. What was he going to play? Odd one, that one. Adrian Rabiot signed an extension with Juve for the next, so he's staying there. Oh yeah, PSG taking Hugo Ekitike from Stade Reims even. That's
Yeah, they took up the option to buy.
that's a more intelligent move than their usual. That's suits what they need. He's not so
Yeah, but
expensive.
he wasn't that brilliant last season on loan.
No, but yeah, the PSG
Yeah,
they don't seem
yeah,
to know what they're.
but like I said, like we said before when we did the PSG podcast, they had a 25 million pound French striker that came through their youth setup.
Yeah,
They sold him last summer, and now they've invested the same money in someone who comes from another team's youth setup.
and he doesn't seem any better. If anything, he seems worse. Yeah, they really don't seem to run that club well at all, to be honest.
No, what did that 25 million get you? That 25 million got you to realize that you actually needed to sign a young striker.
Yeah, so basically you
It's
needed the same as you got rid of.
Yeah, you sold a young striker and then 12 months later you had to buy a young striker to replace that player. That's idiotic if you ask me.
Mm. Yeah, it's PSG all over though. They've got so much money, they don't seem to be putting thought into it. It just seems to be a bit careless because it doesn't matter. I think that's the problem. Yeah. Anyway, so who else? Right. Samuel Umtiti's left Barca, become a free agent. Samir Handanovic, he was once a great keeper. Well past his best now, obviously, but he's left Inter Milan as a free agent. Could
Oh,
probably
he would be a
Turkey.
very good backup or a number three
Yeah,
for a lot of teams. A lot
yeah.
of experience and a brilliant penalty stopper in his time, man.
Oh yeah, he was a fantastic keeper at one point.
I think there was a point in time. I'm plucking this stat out of my head, but there was like 11 penalties in a row that he had saved,
I could
or
believe that.
maybe 11 seasons in a row where he hadn't considered. There's like some ridiculous penalty related stat, man.
Mm. He
I have
cer-
to try and find it now.
yeah, he's certainly one of the better stopping keepers. But yeah, what else? Joining Inter is Marcus Thuram on a free from Gladbach. So they've taken a chance on him. That's Kefren Thuram's older brother, Marcus. He's a attacker though, not a midfielder. He's the only
Mr.
reason.
Mr. Speedy Face.
Hmm?
Mr. Speedy Face. I don't like him
No,
for that
I've
incident.
he had a few injuries, um, which is why he's kind of struggled to establish himself. So and now he's started to look like a player all of a sudden. Now he's free from injury, so Inter might have got themselves a bargain there, or he could end up back on the injury table and they've wasted big wages. What else? Right, Timothy Weah. Speaking of sons and legends, Timothy Weah, George Weah's son, has joined. Yeah, in case you're wondering, Marcus Thuram's the son of Lilian Thuram, of course. Timothy Weah has joined Juve from Lille. That's a strange signing. I mean, I don't get that one at all. He's not a particularly great player, and they're spending money when they've got no money. I had to put this one in because he's one of my favourite players of all time, Andres Iniesta, been released by Vissel Kobe. He's only 39, so still young enough, I think, to get a team. But I love him as a player, so I'll be gutted when he retires. Oh, we mentioned him earlier, Alexis Sanchez. He's been released by Marseille, so he's a free agent. 34, I think now. Marcelo Brozovic has joined the Saudi lot with Al Nasser from Inter. Jota's left Celtic to go to Al Ittihad. That's a good fee for them, 27 million ish. PSG. They lost. Messi's gone to Inter Miami on a free. Also joining from PSG, obviously. Also joining on a free is Sergio Busquets from Barcelona. So they're going to be overrun by anyone who actually tries to take the game to them, won't they? And Barca signed Inigo Martinez from Athletic Bilbao on a free, which is a strange signing because they've got no shortage of veteran defenders, so why bring him in? Odd one, that
He's
one
not
is.
he's not necessarily veteran.
He's in his 30s. Isn't he like 30? He must be getting on a bit by now, though. He's definitely in his 30s, isn't he? Inigo Martinez.
32, yeah.
32, so not as old. I was thinking he was 33, but he's certainly, it's not the age you need to be signing players for when you're Barca at the moment. They've already got, what's his face, Alonso and that are old. Anyway,
Yeah, but he's not a centre back. I know Xavi's played him at centre back, but he's no centre back ever.
No,
Never.
but that's where he plays him. It's terrible. Who else? Right, Angel Di Maria, probably one of the worst signings in Man United's history. He's moved back to Benfica on a free from Juve. What else?
One of the most dislikable guy we've signed in
Yeah, he
all
didn't
all these
seem
years of
like.
my supporting the club.
He didn't want to be there though, did he? That's the thing. I think that's the biggest
Yeah, look,
problem.
like right now we've got Jadon Sancho, who I've criticized so many times and all that, but I cannot I cannot say like he is dislikable. He doesn't respect the club and all those things. Players can they can be not good enough or not up to it or
Hmm.
maybe wrong time, right place, wrong time, all those things. But he was fucking dislikable by the time he had ended his only year at us. And
His
he's fucking disrespectful.
his attitude stank. He really did. I mean, he didn't want to be there, but you know, you don't want to be there, but you don't have to make sure everyone knows about it. You don't have to sulk publicly about it. You just get on with it, don't you? But him, he was just, it's embarrassing. Considering the amount of money he made out of the move.
Pogba didn't want to be at the club, but he never disrespected the club outright.
No, he never came out and made the comments Di Maria made.
He never tried to embarrass the club. He never tried to like throw shade at the club and all those things.
And he still does it, Di Maria.
He's
That's
a
the other
rat.
thing. He still
And
does it.
he does, yeah, and he has done something similar with Juventus as well,
Hmm.
faking injuries.
Yeah, he's not someone I'd want at my club, that's for sure. What else? Oh, Cesar Azpilicueta, Dave's left Chelsea to join Atleti on a free. Atletico Madrid, that is. On a free. I think everyone knew that he was leaving. The surprise is it wasn't Barcelona. Yeah.
And I was thinking he would join Real Madrid.
Well, he was close to a move to Barcelona last season, last summer. But they couldn't raise, remember, they couldn't raise the cash. They couldn't free up the wages to get him. He was one of about 12 players they had on a promise. And then they failed to raise the cash, failed to lower the salary enough to be able to sign any of them. He was one of them. That's why I was a bit surprised he ended up at Atletico Madrid. Yeah, that's going to be but it's a big change for Chelsea because he's been a mainstay for them, but he's definitely his time is up. His legs are gone, so I'm not sure he's really good enough for Atleti anymore, to be honest. But Real Madrid have signed the Turkish Messi Arda Güler from Fenerbahce. 18 years old, 18 million-ish they paid for him. Not seen a lot of him, to be honest. If anything, in fact, I've not seen anything of him, I should say.
I know one thing though, like maybe a week or so ago, maybe it was even less. Joan Laporta was saying Deco is working on the transfer,
Ah, right.
and it's so satisfying to see these douchebags trying to. This is I know the letter of the law doesn't say this is like doesn't say that this is tapping up and doesn't categorize this as illegal, but this is just as almost as bad as meeting the player in secret in Blackpool.
Oh, they don't have to publicly tap them up, don't they? That's the thing that's really annoying. Real Madrid are horrible for it.
No, not just Real. No, I think Real Madrid are horrible, but Barcelona are much
Just
worse.
they're both terrible. But I'm just saying that as well. But Real Madrid are horrible for it, but Barcelona are a disgrace, and
No,
I'm quite
Real
happy to
Madrid
see them
use the
miss out.
media. Look, I think my opinion is Real Madrid use the media outlets. Barcelona come out like the president, the manager, and all those
Hmm.
guys. They come out publicly stating about the player and all that. And I'm so glad that they said, or Laporta said they were gonna sign, like they were working on signing him, and 1 week later, he's joining their biggest rival.
That is good, actually, when you put it like that. Speaking of what else Real Madrid left, Marco Asensio's left them to go to PSG. I can't see why they've signed him. That's another one of those bizarre
Yeah,
PSG
and
signings. It doesn't make sense. Not good enough. He's not a good player. I
And
don't know.
you'd mentioned Marcelo Brozovic moving. Inter have brought Davide Fratesi as his replacement on loan from Sassuolo with a
Yeah,
obligation to buy.
but the big one is they've lost Skriniar to Inter. I know to PSG, and I know we all knew it was going to happen, but still, that is a good signing for, or should be an excellent signing for PSG. That one.
And Granit Xhaka has completed his move to Bayer Leverkusen.
Yeah,
That's another transfer.
yeah, that's just been gone through. I was just waiting to say that one next. You got me. I think that's it, haven't it? I think we got through them all, haven't we?
This Manor Solomon,
Oh, the
the medical pending.
yeah, yeah, but it's not done. So I was literally avoiding all the ones that are pending because of time. We still did 3 hours, even rushing through it like we did. Okay, so I think we call it there because I think we've got through it all. And yeah, I mean, this one was just literally to catch up on all the news we missed out on, rather than to it. So next week we can talk about what we want as usual. You know, catch up on it, do a little catch up on the news at the beginning as usual, and then we can talk about what we want for the rest of the pod for it, like we usually do. You know, pick a subject. So we've caught up. If there's anything you want us to discuss, if anybody actually listens this far to it, yeah, you let us know. We can talk about it possibly. Depends what it is, obviously. I mean, I don't think we can talk about some of the stuff Rob gets up to if that's what anybody wants to know. So, yeah. Anyway, I can't think of anything else to add. Can you? If you haven't fallen asleep
I
already.
just to end the podcast. I think we can end this podcast on a universal sentiment. No, it's not universal. It's a sentiment that's universal outside of the United States. And that is Lance Armstrong is a fucking cheat.
Yes, can't say that in America because you already see. Well, that guy on the Man United site. Oh, but he's a supreme athlete. Yeah, but he's a cheat. No, that doesn't matter. When you cheat, you lose the right to be considered supreme, don't you? Because you don't know whether you would have been
Because
that
you
good.
don't know how much you don't know
Yeah.
how much of that supremeness is natural and how much of that is artificial.
Well, as I pointed out in that article, his VO2 max was nowhere near the levels of Greg LeMond. So the chances are he wouldn't have actually been that level of in the mountains as he was. He would have been nowhere near as good a mountain climber as a lot of the others. And yet he was supreme in the mountains, wasn't he?
Oh, I can not to truly like wrap up this podcast. I will just tell you the defending Tour de France champion is Jonas Vingegaard.
Oh right, yeah. I would never have said that in a million years because I've never heard of it.
Never heard. You've never heard of him.
Him. Sorry, what did I just say? Her. Shit. That's close enough. Yeah, no, I've not got a clue who that is. So, it's not Bradley Wiggins or any of the other cheats. I mean, Brits. So,
Oh, the
yeah.
Brits aren't doing that well.
No, not anymore. It's funny how now they've stopped being allowed to use those therapeutic use exceptions. Suddenly they're no good anymore. It's weird, isn't it? I don't know what. I don't know what. I don't know if there's
The
any
best,
connection
the
there
best,
whatsoever.
the best Brit climber general classification rider is gonna play second fiddle to the race favorite or co-favorite, and the best Brit sprinter is gonna retire at the end of the season.
I have no idea who any of those are. But anyway, so
That is why I didn't name anybody
I'm just glad
because they're just random names for you.
Yeah, I'm just glad you didn't start mentioning cricket, that's all. So I'm going to quickly end it before you start talking about the cricket in Australia again, because I've had that in our WhatsApp group all fucking week. You, Rob, and Billy. God's sake.
It's not me. It's
Oh,
not me. I
well, it's
only
mostly Billy
reply
and
to
Rob.
those
Yeah, I
guys.
know, to be fair. Oh,
It's the asses within the asses.
I've no idea. I didn't know that was what they were talking about. And they just keep saying names. And it's you looking at thinking, who's that? He said somebody was scary, and I'm thinking, who does he play for?
Mahfoud.
Yeah, well, I was thinking, who does he play for? Thinking it's a new play, a player I've never heard of, and I'm thinking, I don't want to sound a bit ignorant or stupid here, because I've never fucking heard of him. Who does he play for? So I'm there googling it, and I'm thinking, well, the only thing that's coming, it's a fucking cricketer, isn't it? You know what I mean? You just say, oh, for fuck's sake. That's why the only thing's coming up is a cricketer, because it is a cricketer. Jesus. Oh yeah. Anyway, sorry, we've got a bit sidetracked here at the end, so we'll let you. We're gonna call it here and take care. See you next Thursday. Thank you for today, Seamus. It's good to be back. Take care.
Yeah, it's been a pleasure. It's been a pleasure. Good night. Goodbye. See you next Thursday.
Ah, that's what I was waiting for.